Good evening, everyone. Welcome. I call to order the special meeting of the Mayor and City Council at 5:06 p.m. Welcome and thank you for being here, and thank you for those viewing remotely. I call to order this joint special meeting of the Mayor and City Council and the Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the redevelopment agency of the City of San Bernardino. Pastor James Grant of Solider for Christ Church will lead tonight's invocation, and Aseli Quevedo from Davidson Elementary School will lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance. Please approach to the podium. And please rise.
Good evening, everyone. Let's pray. Could you bow your heads? Lord God, in the name of Jesus Christ, we pray that you give the leaders of San Bernardino, California, clarity of mind to do what's right for the people of this great city. Continue to keep each of these leaders safe and all that dwell in and around the San Bernardino area. In Jesus' mighty name we pray, amen.
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Did you say she's from Davidson Elementary?
Yes, she is.
That's my alma mater.
Oh, look at that.
Long time ago.
Thank you, Pastor Grant, and thank you, Azayali, for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Here.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem? Here. Councilmember Reynoso?
Here.
Councilmember Calvin?
Present.
Councilmember Alexander?
Here.
Mayor Tran?
Here. Before we conduct city business, as a friendly reminder, as the elected leaders of the city, we shall endeavor to be respectful to each other, our public, and especially our staff. Our behavior this evening sets the tone for how our residents, business community, and others view our city. We must conduct city business with professionalism and respectful behavior to build trust, credibility, and move our city forward. We shall commit to these values and foster a positive and productive working environment that is conducive to achieving our goals effectively and efficiently. I believe we had a presentation, but it got pulled.
Yes, we did have one. We also have Mr. Corey is going to do the city manager's update.
Okay, thank you, Mr. City Manager. So at this time, we are moving to public comments. Will be heard for items 2 through 16 on the special meeting agenda. To address the City Council, everyone must complete a speaker card and provide it to the City Clerk. Only those speaker cards turned into the City Clerk will be allowed to address the City Council. No late cards will be accepted. Each person should state their name for the record. If you do require a Spanish interpretation, we do have an interpreter on site. Please raise your hand at this time to indicate translation assistance. In addition, we have interpreting listening devices available in the back.
En este momento se escucharán los comentarios públicos. Para dirigirse al Consejo Municipal, cada individuo debe completar una tarjeta de orador. Se debe completar la tarjeta de orador y entregarla a la secretaria municipal en este momento. Solo aquellas tarjetas de orador entregadas a la secretaria municipal podrán dirigirse al Consejo Municipal. No se aceptarán tarjetas tardías. Cada persona debe indicar su nombre para el registro. A las 8 p.m. pasaremos a las audiencias públicas y completaremos el resto de los comentarios públicos después de cerrar la última audiencia pública. Si necesita interpretación en español, tenemos un intérprete presente. Por favor, levante la mano en este momento para indicar que requiere servicios. También tenemos tenemos aparatos disponibles para escuchar la Junta en español. Si no recibimos la solicitud para los servicios de interpretación antes de las 9, el intérprete se retirará.
Because you give me that.
Gracias. Thank you. Madam City Clerk, how many speakers do we have?
2.
Two. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. Madam City Clerk?
Mayor, Council, if I may.
Yes.
Item number 10 is going to be pulled in case I forget on the consent agenda.
Thank you.
Georgia L. Sharon Negretti.
Please state your name for the record.
My name is Georgia. Over the past year, I have observed budget changes and witnessed the citywide creation of many top-level, high-salary positions, in addition to promotions and proposed raises in salary within animal services, which many feel are unmerited and seem disproportionate to the needs of our community. Despite the availability of generous grants totaling over $3 million meant to benefit the members of our community, there has been a lack of implementation of any programs and initiatives that were promised to us. While recognizing the importance of supporting our animal services, it is crucial that we strike a balance between these issues and addressing critical infrastructure needs that impact the daily lives of our residents. Essential projects like much-needed street repairs should not be overshadowed by these increases. Because of these concerns, I ask Council to reassess spending decisions and reallocate resources to address pressing community needs. I also urge the Council to give priority to the immediate requirements of our Animal Services Department, including the shortage of line-level workers such as kennel attendants and animal control officers. These frontline workers play a crucial role in the effective functioning of our animal services and should be prioritized over increases in other areas within this department. Also, the additional increase in the veterinarian salary is a step in the right direction, but not sufficient to attract and retain qualified professionals in our city. The competitive offers being extended to graduates by external recruiters, including substantial starting salaries of $175,000, generous sign-on bonuses, and student loan repayment offers of up to $250,000, pose a challenge to our efforts to maintain a skilled workforce. To address these challenges and ensure the efficient use of our resources for a house veterinarian, I propose a strategic reallocation of funds. By reallocating a portion of the budget, such as the $350,000 from the defaulted advanced pet care contract, and combining it with funds from the proposed salary adjustments, $150,000, bringing the total potential offer of $500,000, we could potentially attract and retain 2 highly skilled veterinarians at a competitive salary of $250,000 each. This approach would help us optimize our budget, benefiting both the Animal Services Department and the community that is desperate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker.
Sharon Negretti.
Hello, I'm Sharon Negretti. Hello, City Council and Mayor. I am also talking about the Proposition number 3 on your agenda. I'm deeply troubled by the idea of amending the salary of our animal shelter director, considering recent distressing events. Have any of you conducted surprise visits to the shelter to witness the disarray firsthand? If it is imperative to understand the reality at the animal shelter before endorsing this raise, which I'm sure you have already approved. From the 86 adoptable dogs euthanized to this date, to the mishandling of the adoption event that was scheduled on the same day as the Lunar New Year celebration, and then exclusive spay and neuter clinics that were not publicized to the city of San Bernardino residents. Some people witnessed dogs going into our new donated mobile veterinary unit from San Manuel, meant entirely for San Bernardino residents. As stated in the press release, it's evident that these actions lack respect and concern for our community animals and our citizens, not to mention the taxpayers' dollars. And what are the implications for our partnership with San Manuel? Supporting a raise to an individual displaying such substandard performance is a disservice to our city and its animals. The absence of a TNR program, trap, neuter, release, when we are about to enter cat season is undoubtedly, I mean, it's going to increase the suffering of cats. It's time to prioritize accountability and the well-being of our animal population over misguided decisions. City Council, it's imperative to wake up and prioritize the welfare of all. I'm sorry, I lost my place. To the citizens observing, remember the individuals who advocated for this unwarranted raise. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the speakers.
Thank you. Moving on to City Manager's report.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Mr. Corey is going to present the City Manager's report for today.
Could you bring up the PowerPoint presentation, please? Thank you. And good evening, Mayor and City Council and members of the public that are viewing. I'm Corey Hodges from the City Manager's Office, and I'd love to bring this report to you. Can we go to the first slide, please? All right, I can do it. New kitchen at Fish Street Senior Center. Really exciting. It's a hub for senior meal program in partnership with the county. They prepare over 68,000 meals per year. My mother is a caregiver, so I know how wonderful this service is. So we're really thankful to the county, and it's very exciting. If you have time, please go down and check it out. Chubsy's grand opening, March 7th. I'm really excited about this. I love burgers and fries. I checked out the menu before I came down. They have awesome loaded fries. Everybody, please come down, 3 p.m., Thursday, March 7th, 2344 Sterling Avenue. And the really cool thing about this is it's a local success story. Owner Victor Velasquez started Chubby's as a pop-up, and now he's got his own restaurant. I think that's amazing. We're really thankful for him investing in the community, bringing a great restaurant down to us, City of San Bernardino. I'm going to go down there. Please join us. Next slide, please. Home to Suites grand opening. This is another grand opening, March 12th. It's a 113-room Home to Suites. It's a Hilton property. 4:30 p.m. we'll have a ribbon cutting at 837 North Briar Drive. It's the intersection between Hospitality Lane and Tippecanoe. And this is also another really exciting aspect added to the Hospitality Lane zone, so please come down. When I first saw this photo, I thought, the landscaping is great. I'm a big garden and plant lover, and it looks very warm and exciting, so please come down and join us. Again, March 12th, 4:30, ribbon cutting, Hospitality Lane and Tippecanoe. Next slide, please. Bryce Haynes Beautification, the public works team who works so hard. They were out there at Bryce Haynes Park and John Cole Skate Park. They did a lot of work. It looks beautiful, trimming trees, new landscaping, interior and exterior paint. I know the community is really going to enjoy this. And I want to big thanks to the Public Works Department. They work extremely hard. And please go out if you have time. I know the weather is going to change a little bit for us in the next few days, so please go out to that park and check it out. This is a big one. I went on the city's website before I came down. The broadband survey. It's only a few questions. It's really, really important that everybody takes the time. It's 2 clicks on our banner. So if you click on the banner arrow twice, you'll get to the survey. And there's actually a grant from the California Public Utilities Commission that the city was awarded that gave us the money to develop a broadband master plan, which your responses will be extremely helpful in us finishing. And the most important thing about this survey is when the federal dollars start coming down for state and federal funding for broadband, we'll be in a great position if we have the great responses, if we know exactly where we need to deploy broadband. So please take your time and fill out this survey. Next slide. City news. This is awesome. Josh Dramatinos, he's been serving as a real property manager. He's been named Deputy Director of Economic Development. Congratulations, Josh. He's a real estate professional. He has over 14 years of public and private sector experience. He's been with the city for the last 2 years. I've personally worked with Josh. He's fantastic. Really proud of him, and congratulations, Josh. And then the Parks Department. They're always winning awards. At the CPRS conference, the California Parks and Recreation Society conference, the city picked up 3 awards. The first one was an Excellence in Community Award for the Dia de los Muertos event. And then Project Fighting Chance received a Community Champion Award. And then the wonderful director, Liddy Gutfield, won a 100 award for bringing inclusive, accessible, aquatic, intensive training to professionals throughout the state. So, yes. Very proud of all those updates. Thank you, Mayor and City Council.
Thank you so much for that wonderful update. Now, I believe we have one more public comment that we missed.
Yes, for Treasurer Ortiz.
It's part of the special meeting.
Yeah, so you could speak, Ms. Ortiz.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. So tonight you are going to be discussing potential litigation from Steve Kerrigan, the previous candidate for city manager. And I find that really interesting, given the fact that on August 26th, he publicly acknowledged to his own city that I am a finalist for the city manager job with the city of San Bernardino. When a decision is made, I will share it with you. That then became public down here a day later. His own staff acknowledged that he was taking this opportunity and said they would never fault an individual for trying to advance their career. Then on September 28th, he put out a statement that said, over the past few weeks, I have had time to think about what's important to me from a professional and personal standpoint, and I've decided that Salinas is the best place for me. Early this morning, I contacted the recruiter and removed my name from consideration for this position for the San Bernardino city manager. Carrington added that he could not see himself working anywhere else in Salinas. He has helped make progress with major issues in homelessness, affordable housing. So why would you sue us if you pulled out of your own recruitment, said you've never been happier in your own city, and publicly disclosed that you were a candidate before anybody else? This is the type of stuff that is ridiculous. And as you guys walk into closed session, please make sure that you guys are reflecting the record, that you know exactly what transpired, so that we don't have somebody try to take our money because he then got fired a week later. And truly and honestly, what was coming out of Salinas was that this was his last chance anyways, and if he didn't find gainful employment somewhere else, they were already gonna let him go. Don't make him our problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to this consent calendar, items 2 to 16. Is there Councilmember Alexander? 15 is to 13 from Councilmember Calvin, 15 from Councilmember Alexander. Any other items to be pulled?
Question on 16.
Question on 16 by Councilmember Sanchez. Seeing Nothing else? Can someone motion?
I'll move the
There's-
balance.
There's a motion to move the balance? And set their second.
Councilmember Sanchez,
Why is the multiple
Yes.
vouchers on there?
Councilmember Figueroa,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Reynoso.
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin,
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Consent passes unanimously, actually,
Thank-
6-1, sorry.
Thank you. Let's start with item 13.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. Yes, so who is my question going to?
Mayor, Councilmember Calvin, go ahead. I'll answer it.
Okay, all right. So what I wanted to make sure of was that all three of these motels, that they're in good standing with the city, no code enforcement violations, no outstanding fees, and there are no additional funds that we have to give them in order to utilize their motels for our services.
Mayor, Councilmember Calvin, no. These additional hotels are coming off the second RFP that we let you all know that we're going to do, because it was one hotel and there were other hotels outside the municipal boundaries of the city. So these are only hotels in the city, and this is the second RFP that we've gone through the process, and that is correct. Your statement's correct.
What is correct?
No, they are being paid the same amount as other hotels in the first slew of RFPs.
Right, what I was saying, though, as we enter into partnership with these three motels, I wanted to make sure that these three motels are in good standings with the city of San Bernardino, no code enforcement violations that are outstanding, right? No fees, no citations that they have not paid, because I don't think that they should be able to benefit if they have outstanding citations with code enforcement, and then there are no additional fees that are going to be needed. So you're answering yes to all three of those questions, sir.
Councilmember Calvin, that is correct. We will double check to make sure that's the case. If there is an issue there, we will make sure we absolve it before we move forward with that hotel. But I believe everything's fine.
So you'll be bringing that back to the council then, that you
We
have
will-
verified or you have not verified?
We will bring it back to council and notify council that we've double checked.
Okay, thank you.
Then how's that handled? Are we going to vote on that then tonight, or are we going to pull it to
No,
bring
you
it
can go ahead
back?
and vote on it, sir. You can go ahead and vote on it.
Okay.
We're just going to look at it. It's going to take me tomorrow to look at it. It'll be fine.
So we'll receive notification?
Yeah, you will.
Can you do that in writing?
Yes,
Okay,
it'll be
I mean,
done in writing, correct.
Okay, all right. A motion, Councilman?
Yeah, I want to go over, I want to make sure that before we go down this road, we know what we're getting into. If staff could go over what the cost is, and then if legal can opine as to how that's going to help us meet our bed requirement. Because my understanding that that's not the case, but it's a large commitment. Okay, so who wants to answer the question of how much it's going to cost us over a 3-year contract with Mr. Patel?
Councilmember Sanchez, Eddie, do you want to try and answer that one offhand, the amount of money? I mean, we can defer real quick to Sonia. Sonia, are there any issues from a legal standpoint?
Mayor and council member, or Mayor Pro Tem, and council members, while the city manager looks for the financial information, having a place for homeless to go when we do cleanups is important, but because these are not long-term, they are short-term stays, they would not be the same as a navigation center, for example. So this is a short-term, kind of a short-term fix to our problem. And as we build the navigation center that the city is going out for RFP on, as well as the $35 million that you received in the grant with Lutheran Social Services, as you work on those two projects, this is the bridge that's going to help us to be able to continue to do cleanups in the city.
So right now, there's a court injunction not allowing us to do the cleanups, but it's not because we don't have a hotel voucher program. It's because we don't have at least sufficient a number of beds with wraparound services, low barrier of entry, in order to satisfy a state judge or federal court judge in saying, hey, the city is moving in the right direction. I think it's case law that's already made it clear that the hotel vouchers will not count towards that. And on top of that, we have the court injunction from cleaning up these sites. So I don't know how spending this $2.5 million is going to get us closer to getting these people resheltered, as well as cleaning up the campsites where they are throughout the city.
Councilmember Sanchez, a couple different things. So the hotel vouchers is one aspect of the whole housing thing that we're trying to deal with the court. So we still need to do that irregardless of what we're doing with the navigation center. The court's going to hold us to providing temporary resources for the hotel vouchers, and they're going to look at the transitional services for the 6 months. So that's going to be the navigation center. So the cleanups will also come in there. We need to show progress being made on all of those fronts.
The court injunction doesn't make mention of a hotel voucher program. It mentions the what is it, number of beds with wraparound services and low barrier of entry. It mentions nothing about a hotel voucher program moving the city in the right direction to be able to enforce its no camping regulations. So I want to know how spending $2.5 million is going to get us closer to that, when that could be spent on the rapid reshelter that we're working on, and then the long-term solution, which is that, what are we calling it, the navigation center. So I want to understand how this investment of $2.5 million is going to help us get to the point where we can enforce our no camping rules.
Well, Councilmember Sanchez, it's going to remove some of those individuals off the current streets where they are now to provide some sort of subsistence for them. That has to happen. The court's going to see that. If that's not in there, that would have been part of the court injunction. But they already saw us moving in that direction.
That's already part of the court injunction.
Correct.
We cannot approach them and tell them, hey, go to this hotel, here's your voucher.
But we have to have the resources available. And if we didn't have them, it'd be another stipulation in the injunction.
Okay.
And so as we move forward, this is one aspect we have to maintain while continuing the navigation center. And hopefully by the end of this month, we'll hear from the court alleviating us from that injunction, allowing us to continue the cleanup. But we need to show positive movement somewhere.
My concern, and I may be convinced to do this, but I think we need to come back, and I think legal will need to opine. Legal knows this case inside and out. They're going to need to show us, and I think this would be good for us to have as part of the staff report and the backup. Look, council members, look, council, this is why we have to spend $2.5 million on the voucher program. Right here, line such and such and such and such in the court injunction, and per the words or the written text of the judge, this will help us get there. Because right now, I have nowhere that I can point in the staff report saying, hey, council, this $2.5 million is going to help us get to a place where we can get these people off the street and into a shelter with a bed. I don't see it, and I'd like for that to be pointed out. I haven't read the whole court injunction. I don't know if it's long or short, but I'm not convinced quite yet that that investment of $2.5 million is going to get us there. I haven't seen the text for that.
So I'm going to turn this over to Sonia here in a minute. However, I would say that part of this is that the advocates have picked on pieces of what the city has not been able to do. They have not picked up on this piece specifically, but if we don't do it, it'll happen again, even worse. So we need to continue what we're doing with the hotel voucher program on top of the navigation center and the wraparound services, on top of the cleanups when the court alleviates us. If we don't do this piece, we'll be back with the court, without a doubt.
Are you talking about the plaintiffs in this case?
We're talking about, yeah.
But the plaintiffs in this case don't mention anything about the hotel vouchers. They mention moving people off of these sidewalks and these cleanup sites. So what I would like, and I think this is where legal has done a very good job in the past of showing us, look, council, this is the instructions. You may be the bosses of the city, but the people that are magistrate judge or are the judges in the circuit courts, they can hand down rulings that you will have to obey. There is no two ways about it. I just don't see it in front of me, and I want to make sure that those orders are clear to this council before we decide to invest this $2.5 million. Because right now, it looks like we're doing the voucher program, we're doing the navigation center, and then we're going to do that rapid reshelter. So that's three things. And when we pull towards one, we're pulling away from another. And this council has already has bought and paid for the navigation center. And so if we could just bring this back at the next meeting with clear detail as to this is why this is going to help us enforce our no camping rules, then we can be assured as a council that that $2.5 million is an investment towards getting these people off the street and into shelters and rehabilitated. Because right now, there was nowhere in the staff report that said this is going to help that.
Councilmember Sanchez, let me add this, and I'll have Sonia jump
Yeah.
in, that at this point in time, we do have some vouchers remaining outside of this that we can utilize. However, and this is a big however,
Yeah.
if the court currently has the case, we've already submitted it to them. If they see that we've not done anything in this area, we're going to end back up there again because of this hotel voucher program.
So but this is the thing, is that we're not in court in the first place because of the hotel voucher program. We're
Correct.
in court because of the camping cleanups.
That is correct.
And the thing is, we can't do the camping cleanups without the permanent shelter beds. The hotel vouchers are not the permanent shelter beds. So that's
Correct.
why if there's anything that we can use, because we have to justify to the
Correct.
taxpayers out there, we're going to spend $2.5 million. And I'm having conversations with people who tell me that $2.5 million doesn't get us 1 inch closer to being able to enforce our no camping rules. Because what you need for that is you're going to need the wraparound service at a low barrier, permanent shelter. And the hotel vouchers aren't that. Yeah.
Okay, so I think after listening, I was listening carefully, I think
Yeah.
I understand. There are two things we try to solve for. We try to solve for enforcing our no camping rules, for which we need to have at least beds that would serve 60% plus one. That's the standard we've used based on litigation both in Orange and LA counties. You probably read the headlines. That's what some of the federal court judges have said. That's to enforce no camping, meaning if an individual is laying on a sidewalk and we don't want them to lay there or laying in a park, we can't criminalize homelessness unless we get them a bed. So you're correct. I think where the difference is and what this is about is there's a difference between citing people for camping, on our public property, and being able to conduct our cleanups. And so what we did as we embarked on the cleanups and the parks, we did a really good job. Your staff did an excellent job. We sat down and strategized with them, and we said, in order to do your cleanups, you're going to have to provide a place for these people to go. And we gave them a bunch of options. We said you can do a low barrier shelter, you can convert a building, you can go put up a tent, you can do vouchers, but that's for the cleanup part of it. Do you see the difference? There's one of citing someone and saying it's a crime to be sleeping out here in public, for which we need to have a navigation center. And the other thing is just to do the cleanups, to temporarily move someone out of that area so that we can actually do the proper cleanup that we need to do. And the lawsuit is about the latter.
Yeah, the
Correct.
injunction is over the cleanup.
Exactly.
But the cleanup, we're not going to be able to do the cleanups by just saying, hey, we can clean up your space because we have a hotel voucher here for you. If they decide to stay, they can stay there, unless we have the permanent wraparound or the permanent beds at a shelter with low barrier of entry.
One of the plaintiffs in our current litigation raised the issue that although we took them to a hotel, that after 7 days, they were forced out of that hotel. And that's something that means that the service provider, we've also hired a company that does the services for you. There's going to be a lot of pressure on that service provider to get those people that are in the motels temporarily into more supportive and permanent housing out there. One of the things for the council to remember is that you have some amazing programs in your city that are not city or county run. They're private, nonprofit run, and so there is relationships between the people that are out there and moving people into some of those facilities. So what I would tell you is this: I believe that you have to have something, whether it's a permanent navigation center, which would be ideal, or whether it's a low barrier shelter where people just can go into a gym and lay on cots, whether it's a tent or whether it's a motel voucher. My advice is please have some of those beds so that we can do your cleanups. That's the bottom line.
We're already working on that. We have the shelter coming, and we have a rapid reshelter plan that we're working on.
But if you don't have them in the meantime, we won't be able
We
to
can't-
advise staff to do cleanups.
But we can't do the cleanups anyways with the hotel vouchers. What I'm saying is that
In a
hotel
month, we'll be able
vouchers,
to do cleanups. We're hoping that in a month,
In a
the
month.
judge will rescind the order.
You don't.
because of the hotel vouchers.
No, because we will have put into place a due process procedure for people whose property is.
So a policy in place to do the cleanups
Yes.
that a judge will be compelled is signaling from the city that we are doing our due diligence in order to ensure that these people have their rights.
Correct.
But the thing is, I'm trying to understand how the ingredient of the hotel voucher is going to help, because right now, I don't see how us presenting to the judge, hey, we're doing the hotel vouchers, can we now enforce our no camping? And he's going to say no.
So Councilmember Sanchez, let me add this, is that this money that's allocated right now has already been allocated by the state for housing vouchers. You all can't change that unless we go back to the state.
Where is this hotel voucher money coming from?
PLHA funding.
That's not what it says here.
It's PLHA funding.
It's not in the staff report.
It is in the staff report.
It is.
It is.
It's under fiscal impact.
It's under fiscal impact. It's PLHA. So you guys will lose the funding.
And that funding can't be used for the navigation center.
Nope, you'd have to go back to the state to get it reprogrammed. And it's up to the state to decide what they want to do with it at that point in time.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So my question here is, why hasn't staff or yourself did the homework to find out whether or not these motels that we have chosen do not owe the city any funds through code enforcement violations, are in good standing? Because I just heard someone mention a name, and I know that the last conversation that we had and that name was mentioned, there were some negative connotations and some negative information that was put out there. I need to know that if we're entering into an agreement, because I don't care what motel it is, providing that the motel is clean, the motel is safe for us to put any resident inside of it, and that they do not owe the city any funds. And I just beg to differ. I'm thinking that this might not be the case here, and I would have appreciated if that information would have been inside of the backup information.
Mayor, Councilmember Calvin, we rely on staff to do some of the work. So when it comes to us, we assume this has already been done, assuming not always correct. But this is why I mentioned to you, I will know by tomorrow one way or the other, and to make sure that happens.
But it's a question, though, if we pass this tonight, we've already passed that, and we don't have that information, and I just think that we need to.
Councilwoman Calvin, if I may, I just confirm with staff that through their vetting process, they verified with our business registration division that these businesses are in good standing with valid business license, and they're in good standing with the city. I can go specifically and verify the code enforcement question, but that review was conducted.
That's the question, and that was an issue with another motel that we were discussing prior to, that there was code enforcement violations. So we don't want to be entering into any agreements with anyone that where there's code enforcement violations. Thank you.
Councilmember Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Quick question, when would this take effect?
Mayor, Councilmember Alexander, I think we're looking at maybe 60, probably 30 days for it to take effect.
Now, we approved this before for some other hotels. Has that taken effect?
Correct, yes it has. All but one, which we removed.
I see Ms. Cersei out there. Can you tell us how effective that has been? How many people they have housed? How many people have gone back out on the street? And what wraparound services have done? Anything to that, can that be shared with us today?
Yeah, Councilmember Alexander. The motel voucher program initially was paused, and it was paused because 2 of the motels were from locations outside of city limits. Actually, 2 were motels outside of city limits, and 1 was located on Hospitality Lane. Now, that motel owner did have his business license renewed. There are no outstanding issues. We were directed to not move forward with that location on Hospitality Lane, which left us with 1 motel, which was Motel San Bernardino, with 24 rooms. 24 rooms, that was it. No double bed capacity, just 24 rooms. So the city, we went ahead and reissued an expedited RFP, exclusively looking for local motel owners. And Mr. Andy Patel has 3 motels within city limits that will allow the city to have a total of 201 motel rooms. Now, following the guideline that Sonia just presented, that 60% plus 1 threshold, that allows the city to meet its threshold capacity for shelter beds. And there are other cities that use motels providing on-site supportive services and case management, and they are allowed to use those motel rooms to fulfill the role of a shelter bed. It's an interim interim shelter bed. That's the key.
So that's what we're saying, this is an interim.
Interim.
So the two hotels that were outside city limits, that has been put on pause as well?
That has been put on permanent pause until we hear further direction from the city manager.
And when were we going to let us know about that?
Mayor and council, we did notify the mayor and council that we were not moving forward with the two hotels outside the city limits because we were notified by those cities that we would probably end up in a legal forum with them.
Okay. And now, Ms. Cersei, you said that these hotels count toward the Boise numbers?
Yes.
I thought they didn't count toward the Boise
We have to
numbers.
be able to provide available beds, and we need to be able to provide services. So these interim motel the interim motel shelter program provides the bed, as well as the city providing case management services, and we're utilizing local nonprofits to fill in that gap. So it still will include substance abuse counseling. It still will include behavioral health, case management.
I got that part, but I thought the city attorney said that these don't count. Maybe I misheard.
Mayor, Councilmember Alexander, Boise accounts for the camping, the cleanup accounts for the hotel vouchers. Those two go together separately. So you're looking at,
Okay.
That's the way it works.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes, who is the contracted service provider to be providing the wraparound services for these folks?
So the city is working with our homeless outreach team, which is Hope the Mission, and they have an MOU agreement with the PARE team. I think that's PARE, but they're here in San Bernardino, and they're going to be providing medical oversight and case management services, and that's in coordination with our homeless outreach team.
Those fees are coming out of the same PLHA allocation?
No, actually, the PARE team is able to receive CalAIM reimbursement, and if you're familiar with CalAIM funding, homeless housing, shelters, healthcare are now billable through CalAIM, which is a subsidiary of Medi-Cal, and that's how they get reimbursed.
Thank you.
Okay. The next item to be pulled is number...
We haven't voted on this.
Okay, sorry.
Considering the sensitivity of this issue, I would either continue it to the next regular council meeting, or if we need to have a special meeting to discuss this, then that's what I want, because I'm not going to throw away $2.5 million that don't get us any closer to cleaning up our streets. I want to make sure that if, in fact, we are going to spend this $2.5 million, that we are going, that will allow us to start enforcing, or at least get us closer to being able to enforce our no camping rules, or our cleanups. We can't do the cleanups either. That's the issue. The injunction is over our cleanups.
Correct.
Yes, exactly. And we cannot do the cleanups until there are shelter beds.
We could use the voucher program for the cleanups.
No, we cannot. We cannot bother them unless we have a threshold of at least, 60, 70% of shelter beds relative to our homeless population.
The study session, should we add it to the study session?
Yeah, that's fine.
Mr. City Manager?
Yeah, we'll add it to the study session. I think, what date is that? The 26th, 7th? I just want to make sure that we have enough time because I don't want to lose the funds from the state because you can't reprogram them.
You can do it all the time. We have a substantial amendments to whether it's the CDBG, is it the CDBG funding or is it the other one? There's two of them here.
Correct. I don't.
If it's the CDBG funding, we do substantial amendments all the time.
I don't believe
I just
it is.
don't want to throw away the $2.5 million over something that's not going to get us to clean up the streets.
Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize, Councilmember Sanchez. If we do not move forward with the motel voucher program, the city definitely will lose its 2019, the remaining balance of its 2019 PLH allocation, which is approximately $1.1 million. And the reason for that is because the drawdown must be done by March 1st. There's no further extensions. As a matter of fact, just to add clarity, the state did not even want to initially allow the city to use the PLHA funds for the motel voucher program because typically PLHA funds do not contribute towards the construction or operation of shelters. But the state made an exception for the city of San Bernardino. So they, excuse me, understood this program, they understood the value, and they gave us permission.
When's the deadline?
Excuse me. The deadline, sorry. Hold on.
You said March 1st? It's past us?
Oh, March 15th, I'm sorry.
Councilmember Calvin, followed by Councilmember Ibarra.
Mr. City Manager, you know what I would find to be quite helpful is if we would then be presented on where we actually are with our navigation center. I think that when we're speaking about funding that we're wanting to use, whether being allocated from PLHA or any other fund, I think that the main, what the community and what we are looking for is how close are we getting to actually having the navigation center. Now, I remember some conversation in another meeting that you stated, but what I want to hear is if that navigation center is not in our full view and we don't have any time frames set around that, with the funding being allocated, then we need to be looking at a more temporary, immediate structure so that we can continue to meet those numbers that we need to meet. So it can't be that we're just, as Councilmember Sanchez mentioned, throwing any funding, but I understand that this funding cannot be used for that. But we just need to have some parameters. You need to paint a better picture than what's being painted here tonight so that the community is clear, we're clear, how close are we, where actually are we? And I think that with San Bernardino being in the situation that we have been in for quite some time, with not being able to house our unsheltered, we need some immediate information to be brought to the dais so that we can be able to vote on this item with the breeze, knowing that we have the navigation center or a more temporary, immediate structure being in place.
Mayor, Councilmember Calvin, staff has been looking in other ways to provide wraparound services and more of a long-term solution for places for individuals that are homeless to stay. At this point in time, we do not have location. As you're aware, we did bring a method to you all. That has now gone away. The Navigation Center, I'll be more than happy to bring a presentation to you probably in a month, but right now we are currently working through the application process with the state. The whole process resides solely with the state, but we are working on the application process and all the details. When that gets accomplished by the state, I cannot tell you. When they award it, I cannot tell you, but it'll most likely be the end of this year. But we have to do our part in trying to get this, the application process.
Well, then an update would still surely be beneficial to all of us. Now, when we talk about an immediate temporary structure, there are other and multiple solutions that the city could utilize. I would like the staff to bring back some of those so that we can entertain them to be able to go forward and being able to provide immediate shelter to our unsheltered.
I appreciate it, Councilmember Calvin. We will look into it. We did look into your other ideas about the modulars. The cost of that was just unfathomable for us to do that with state money.
But we don't know that because you didn't bring that back to us.
No, but we know by looking at it.
But we need to know.
Okay.
We're the ones that's asking you the questions tonight. We need to know what it is that you're looking at and answers. If it's not unsurmountable, unfathomable, whatever the case may be, we're the ones that need to make that decision. So we would appreciate that information being brought to us.
As I said, Councilmember Calvin, we've been looking into it, so I'm not going to bring piecemeal information to you all. I'll bring it when it's complete.
When will that be?
When I'm complete with it, which I said about 30
So it's
days.
always, so it's not with the council. So do you see the problem that you have with item number 13 right now? Is that you're not giving us any other information of what you're seeking so that we can make the decision so that we would know that the $2.5 million that it's allocated right here for number 13 cannot be used for that, for a structure, but yet we are also working, here's some other information, council, we would like for you to entertain that would also be in our purview, our view, where we will be able to provide shelter to the unsheltered on a temporary basis.
Councilmember Calvin, this is time sensitive. This is why this came to you at this point in time. The rest of the items will come to you out in about 30 days.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes, thank you. I'm just listening, and I can't. I think the only word I can describe what I'm hearing right now is that I'm shocked, because us as legislators, we approved so much funding for the navigation center, for the tiny homes, mobile showers, and none of that has come back before us as being completed. It's been over a year since we approved it on our end. Right now, you were mentioning that the funding for the permanent local housing allocation funds, that was an extension we got or an approval from the state to use for the motel vouchers, and that concerns me because it's temporary housing, it's not permanent. When we're doing these changes and approvals, we all need to be notified as soon as possible. I want to second Councilmember Sanchez and bring this back. If it's that urgent that we have to do this by March 15th, I would like to recommend maybe a special meeting on Friday with all the update from staff of where we're at with the navigation center and all the funding that we have approved and where we're at with all of it. And that's information that city staff should be able to provide. I'm just very concerned, especially when we have so many beds available. Why can't we just offer that funding to those agencies that have reported beds available for services? Why are we doing the motel vouchers? So those are just some questions that we have for a special meeting as soon as possible.
Can't do it Friday.
Any other comments by the council members? Is there, I believe there's a motion or?
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. This happens way too often here, that we're pondering whether to approve something or not, and then in the 11th hour, staff says, well, you have to approve it now because in 3 days, it's past the deadline. I mean, that happens so often here. It happens at least once a month, and it just happened now. You guys saw it in real time. We were debating. This whole thing goes out the window now, because now it went from being, we're going to lose $2.5 million to now we're going to lose $1.5 million of state money. That changes the conversation.
Yep. Mayor, Councilmember.
We might as well approve it. But believe me, I cannot stand, and I'm sure my colleagues feel the same way, how often this happens to us. We're in the 11th hour, staff says, well, your back's against the wall, you have to approve it. Otherwise, we lose millions of dollars of state or federal funding. That happens way too often, and it just happened now again.
Councilmember Sanchez, you're absolutely correct. Since I've been here, there have been a number of projects and programs, federal grants, that we've lost in the millions. And that's what we're trying to get on top of now. And it's no staff's fault. We're just trying to get through it.
So I think the fact that we're on this really short timeline changes the conversation. So I will move to approve, but I'm hoping that city manager, yeah, we have to approve this. We're not gonna, I don't know, if you guys want to make a motion to have a special meeting, but I would approve. I would move to approve today. But please, staff, city manager, be advised that we don't want to be in this predicament again.
Councilmember Sanchez, I totally agree with you, so does staff as well. But to my previous comments, I will make sure by the first meeting in April that you guys have a real breakdown of where we're at on every project in regards to housing coming from the state, whether it's our navigation center, hotel vouchers, or whatnot, because we have been spending a considerable amount of time trying to track down all the money and revenues and where we spent them thus far.
Yeah, and look, if you guys are going to fly past that deadline, at least let us know by the deadline that you need more time. I know the electeds have all been briefed now on a rapid reshelter plan that was in place, and we had set a deadline of, I think, second meeting in February, and that has come and gone, and I don't think any of us know where that ended up. So we need to make sure that we get these updates in a timely manner.
Thank you,
So
Councilmember.
I'll move to approve.
There's the motion to approve the staff's recommendation.
Yes.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
No.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes 6-1 with Councilmember Ibarra voting in opposition.
Thank you. And the next pulled item, I believe, is that 14? 15. And Councilmember Alexander?
Thank you, Mayor. Who's going to address this one? Hi. I remember, and thank you for this report, but when we did the first phase of this American Rescue Plan funding, it was for $10,000, a minimum of $10,000, right? And now I see here that it says on the page, award amount, any gross over $50,000. And that was the minimum requirement, was $50,000. You got $10,000 to $35,000. That's what the council approved. Who said to reduce the amount? Because the council didn't say reduce the amount. The council said reduce the required amount of the 50,000 to 25,000. So who defied the, I won't use that word, defied the council. Who changed it?
So staff used other programs from the state, from the county, from other communities to align in parity with what the funding was. So we were looking at that 50,000 mark, and if we had started it at that $10,000 grant award, that essentially be awarding a business that makes $50,000 a fifth of their annual income at one point in time.
Who told you guys to change it without coming back to the council? Because the council told you and said $10,000. Why didn't you come back to us to ask to change it?
So this is that point in time that we're coming back. We did communicate with previous administration on the program. We had taken it through the appropriate routes. So this would be that point in time that we're having that conversation.
So you
But
didn't
this
bring
is
it
just
back
based
to the
off of,
council.
pardon?
So why didn't it come back to the council to change? Because the council gave directive of how it's supposed to be, and it didn't come back to the council when you changed it. So can someone answer me that? Because we gave directive of how it was supposed to be, and now it's changed, and in consent calendar at that too.
Councilmember Alexander, I don't believe that staff has changed the direction. It's a recommendation that staff is bringing forward for your consideration.
Then why is it on, should be a discussion item then? So why don't you just
I don't
take-
have a good answer about the placement on the agenda. You know, that becomes a judgment call when the agenda is prepared. We did not consider this a controversial item. It's staff's recommendation. You know, if you want modifications to the framework that staff is recommending, then we're more than happy to take those or bring the item back if you would like.
But our directive was clear. You changed our directive.
Councilmember Alexander, your direction has not been changed. We did not implement a program outside of the authority that was given to staff. What you do have before you is a staff recommendation that is out of alignment with what the council's direction is, but council provides direction, staff provides recommendations, and it's up to the council to decide on the staff's recommendation.
This is not a recommendation. Because it's in consent. It's not a recommendation.
All of it is a recommendation.
No, ma'am, not when it's in consent. It's not a recommendation. Council said $10,000, $10,000 to $35,000 for those up to $50,000. I'm here for the small businesses, what we're trying to do. And council said it would be $10,000 to $35,000. That's what we said. Then we said we're going to lower the required amount to $25,000 to help more small businesses. That's what the council said. And that being done, then the small business grant, the one that you have for $2,500, should be $5,000 if we're talking about recommendations to help people, because this doesn't do anything for a small business in San Bernardino to help folks. It doesn't do anything. That's why we started out at $10,000, more than any other city, because we're here to help folks. So if we're taking recommendations, I don't know if I can do this, Madam City Attorney, then I would like to revert it back to what it was of council's original directive.
You can absolutely do that,
Yeah,
sir.
excellent.
Absolutely.
Okay, then
Yeah.
I make a motion that we change it back to what it was of $10,000 for $50,000 and up, and then those under $50,000, $5,000.
There is a motion by Councilmember, so prior to moving forward with that, Mayor Pro Tem, followed by Councilmember Sanchez.
So what you said, so that I'm clear on this, is that we could be giving someone that their gross sales, their gross revenues for a year is $50,000, and we're giving them $10,000, which is 1/5 of their sales. Is that, and so you're recommending that that doesn't seem appropriate? Is that did I understand you say something?
So appropriate or not, it's not necessarily in line with what other communities are doing. So if I understand it, 50,000, under 50,000 would get 5,000. If you had, let's say, $50,001, then you would get that $10,000, which would essentially equate to, yes, 1/5 of your gross revenue.
And
Pardon? Correct.
Councilmember, please, let's just have one councilmember speak at a
well,
time.
and then, but you're doing this based on, kind of on best practices, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to follow what everyone else is doing. But you've given this some thought and you've checked how other cities are handling it, and what you're recommending tonight, and albeit maybe it should have been a discussion item, that is another issue that can be discussed at a later date or can be dealt with, whether this should be a discussion item or a consent item. You folks made a judgment that this is non-controversial, and it's turning out that it may be a little bit more discussion than was planned, which is fine, and we're still doing it. So we always, even with a consent item, have the ability to pull an item and say, this is not ready for prime time, or we don't like your recommendation, and so you shouldn't have put it on the consent calendar, and we're not going to support it. So I have a tendency to kind of follow the recommendation of the professionals that are paid to do the work daily. I do not feel like you're ignoring our direction, but in fact, you're doing the research and coming back with recommendations. So,
Councilmember Charette, if I may, I think one of the reasons staff was looking at this was to spread a wider net. That some of the applications we got, and we got complaints that they didn't qualify for this or didn't qualify for that. So staff reduced them, spread a wider net. That's not saying we still can't do the other amounts, but we're trying to reach out more to businesses by casting that wider net.
And I support that theoretically as well. And so anyway, those are my comments, and I don't know if there's going to be a recommendation to approve or not. I'm going to wait and see.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Reynoso?
Thank you. I appreciate what you're trying to do. I hear you out totally. We want to make sure that that number is higher than what it is here. But I did the math. The spread is like 80 people could, or businesses could receive it. But I know some businesses that this wouldn't do much for. So do you have the numbers handy of how many businesses received the small business grant in the first round?
Yeah, so the first round was 105, but it was nonprofits and our small business community as well. So that spread out. We had 425,000 remaining. So
Total.
that spread out over, correct, 105 in total in the first round.
Is there more funding eligible through our ARPA allocation to put towards this?
So the remaining funding from that first round that didn't get allocated to the businesses because they didn't complete the training program, they didn't provide their documentation.
I'm talking about outside of this program allocation. We put $3 million towards exactly what you're talking about. I'm talking
Right.
about, is there out of the 77?
That would be a
Anybody?
question for finance, whether or not there would be remaining funds left over. This is specifically from that first initial amount allocated.
No, I understand. Can anybody, Barbara or
Councilmember Reynoso, I believe there's in the ballpark of $2 million left.
total?
Yeah, of the assignment for small businesses. And I think that's why staff.
For small businesses,
Yeah,
total.
that's why staff was trying to expand the outreach for the business.
So really, there's like $2.5 million almost
I
left?
believe so. We'll have to do that.
We
but I
should do,
believe so.
no. You got staff shaking their head. You're telling me one thing, staff's,
I think.
because if that's what's left,
So
we should do the same thing
The
again.
program was $2 million allocated initially for this program.
3.
This is that remaining.
425 out of the 3 million
Correct.
originally allocated.
Correct, yes. And then we use the other $2 million for the ERC.
The ERC, correct.
Yes.
So there's no, it's just 425, that's it. No more ARPA funds that can be allocated towards this.
Councilmember Reynoso, we do have ARPA funds, but they're isolated, and when we bring things back, you'll see there's some set aside for the navigation center, so we're not.
How much is loose is what I'm asking you.
I'm sorry?
How much is loose? How much is unallocated?
None.
Okay, that's what I need to know. It would only go to 17 businesses, but I am in favor of we just finishing out the program like as it was. Yeah. And we've already given you a list of businesses. I've contacted you directly about businesses who could benefit from this. So could you repeat your motion again, Councilman Alexander?
My motion was to go back to the original $10,000 for any business that makes $50,000 up to $2.5 million, and any business under $50,000 to have $5,000 grant awardee.
So 10 and 5.
Correct.
Dang. It used to be higher. It was 10 and 35.
It was $10,000 to $35,000. It was a sliding scale.
So we're not doing the scale. You want to do 10 and 5?
Yeah, just 10 and 5.
I'll second the 5,000 and 10,000 limits.
Okay.
Okay, there's a motion second by Councilmember Sanchez.
Yeah, I was gonna, I guess, voice the same opinion. 5,000, 10,000, with the limitations on the gross income per year. So if that's second already, I'll vote yes.
Madam City Clerk, can you repeat the motion and we'll call for the votes?
A motion by Councilmember Alexander to return the grants to the previous levels approved by council, which will total out to $10,000 for some businesses and $5,000 for others. I apologize, I don't have the
Over
range.
50,000.
Okay.
Anything over 50,000, 10,000. Anything less than 50,000, 5.
Okay. Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, pulled item number 16, Councilmember Ibarra? Or Sanchez, I'm sorry.
It wasn't pulled, so I don't know if we voted on it already or not, but it was just a question. So wait, was it pulled?
It was pulled, but.
Okay, all right, well, it was mostly a question. I want to know, and this is where I'd prefer you give us more information than not enough. I had to go and ask around where the 101B suite is at Vanner Tower.
It's right out the front door.
Yeah, so really a shout out to the security guard who always greets us with a big
Joe.
smile. Joe, yeah, Joe. He gave me a tour of the place. Then I asked him, well, who's going to be here? He said, well, you guys. I said, well, who? So I'd like to ask you right now, who's going to be in that space?
So it's a combination of individuals in that space. Susie, do you want to?
It's where the sun used to be, yeah.
Yes, it's going to be a couple of divisions from HR as well as some finance.
HR and finance?
Correct.
And they're just expanding, right? So they're not going to be vacancies where they are now?
Right. So what we were looking to bring to the first floor is benefits as well as recruitment. That tends to generate the most traffic. And then finance to the first floor as well.
Okay. Because that's $1.8 million over 3 years, I think, right? In additional cost to the city.
Councilmember Sanchez, yeah.
I want to make sure that you guys can give us a thumbs up that this is going to be money well spent. Because it's a lot of money. It's
Yes.
$1.8 million for 3 years.
Councilmember Sanchez, Mayor, if I may. So as we look at going into City Hall in the future, a lot of these payments where you guys are making lease payments to another building you don't own are going to be the bond payments. So what we're trying to do now down there is staff needs to expand because now we're growing, but we're not doing any TI improvements down there other than cleaning and touching up with, so that way we're not spending more money.
You're spending $100,000 on
But
tenant improvements.
Carpet, that's just basic carpets and stuff like that. It's not the remodel.
I'll sell you carpet for cheaper. All right, thanks. Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion and second. Please call for the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. That is all. Now we will convene into closed session. The time is being 6:12 p.m. We are back from closed session. Madam City Attorney, is there anything to report from closed session?
Mayor, council members, and members of the public, we do not have any reportable action from closed session.
Thank you. The Mayor and City Council and the Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the redevelopment agency will adjourn to a regular meeting to be held today, Wednesday, March 6, 2024, at the Feldheim Central Library located at 555 West 6th Street, San Bernardino, California, 92401. Open session will begin at 7 p.m. I call to order the regular meeting of the Mayor and City Council at 7:04 p.m. Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Here.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem is off the dais. Councilmember Reynoso?
Here.
Councilmember Calvin?
Present.
Councilmember Alexander?
Here.
Mayor Tran?
Here. At this time, public comments will be heard for items 1 through 2 on the regular meeting agenda and items not on the agenda. To address the City Council, everyone must complete a speaker card and provide it to the City Clerk. Only those speaker cards turned into the City Clerk will be allowed to address the City Council. No late cards will be accepted. Each person should state their name for the record. Please note that at 8 p.m., we will pause public comment and proceed with the public hearings. Public comments will resume after the closing of the last public hearing. If you require Spanish interpretation, we do have an interpreter on site. Please raise your hand at this time to indicate whether you need translation assistance. In addition, we have interpreting listening devices available in the back.
En este momento se escucharán los comentarios públicos. Para dirigirse al Consejo Municipal, cada individuo debe completar una tarjeta de orador. Se debe completar la tarjeta de orador y entregarla a la Secretaría Municipal en este momento. Solo aquellas tarjetas de orador entregadas a la Secretaría Municipal podrán dirigirse al Consejo Municipal. No se aceptarán tarjetas tardías. Cada persona debe indicar su nombre para el registro. A las 8 p.m. pasaremos a las audiencias públicas y completaremos el resto de los comentarios públicos después de cerrar la última audiencia pública. Si necesita interpretación en español, tenemos un intérprete presente. Por favor, levante la mano en este momento para indicar que requiere servicios. También tenemos aparatos disponibles para escuchar la Junta en español. Si no recibimos solicitud para los servicios de interpretación antes de las 9, el intérprete se retirará. Gracias.
Gracias, thank you. Should be noted, Mayor Pro Tem Charette has returned to the dais. And at this time, we have 23 speakers. Madam City Clerk? Each speaker will have 3 minutes.
Esmeralda Negrete, Gregory Taylor, Ricky Brown, Dolores Armstead, Al Palazzo.
Please state your name. You can turn on the mic. Thank you.
Good evening, City Council. My name is Gregory Taylor. A lot of the people in the City Council do know me, except you, Mrs. Mayor. I've given you a break. I have not been to any of the City Council meetings, one, because I do work out of the city, and since you've been elected, and I kind of put some support behind you, but I've seen nothing that you've done to improve the city. I spoke to some of these City Council members, Damon, Kim, Ben, and even, I can't remember your name now, but of the 5th Ward, Ben and Damon. And I've seen no improvements under your leadership. I've requested, I've put in numerous CRMs about the potholes. I don't know what you guys are doing, but it's garbage. I don't understand why it rains one week, we fill them, and they're done again. We got the same potholes in the same places throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout all the winter season. So it's nothing being done. I thought you would be an asset to the city, and I don't see anything being done. As far as the cleanliness of the city, I see nothing being done in any parts of the city. I can call in all these CRMs, nothing's being done. Trash throughout the city, nothing's being done. Miss Mayor, I'm addressing you. What has been being done? Because you can speak directly to me, and I'll allow you to take the rest of my minute and 30 seconds.
The public comments for your time, sir.
Excuse me?
The public comments for your time, and I'm
But
listening to you.
I'll let you respond.
I will listen to you.
Okay, okay, and then we'll just go to the city attorney. I'd like to know how long you've been on the, city manager, how long you've been on the job? And how did you come about getting your job? No answer? No answer? Because I want to know why we're dealing with these things where we got $2.5 million that's not going to be used, or we're at the last minute or the 11th hour regarding the homeless. So I'm asking, how long have you been on the job? Because I've been in the city for 17 years. And to me, for those 17 years, the city has gone to crap. To crap. Not under your leadership, not under city council leadership, but it's who's ever come before since I've moved here. I was here to get Valdivia out of office, and I will be here if I got to get you out of office. I don't care who's on the city council. I'm willing to work with anybody. You've heard it from me, you've heard it from me, and the last three have heard it from me. I've had people contact me. Fred, you're old. You can't relate to any of these. You're old. You can't relate to any of these guys in this younger generation. So, I think it's time for you to go, and then maybe some of the people on the city council, it's time to go, and then we'll get some.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker. Please state your name.
My name is Ricky Brown. Little nervous, first time, give me a break. I'm here to discuss the University Hill project. There's no infrastructure for that project. They said they're going to put 900 homes in Devil's Canyon right behind the university. The problem I see is we don't have the streets for that. Who's going to police the area? Where's the fire department going to come from? Our schools are already overcrowded because my granddaughter's in a class with 25 kids, one teacher. How are we going to solve this? And they're building it in a fire zone. I mean, I got a whole list of things here I can go through, but like I said, I'm nervous. But, I mean, you can't go down University Parkway now at certain times because from my house where I live right next to the university, takes me 30 minutes to go a mile to the grocery store. At certain times, you come up the 215 freeway, and the traffic is backed up so bad that you sit out there for 45 minutes from the 210 to University Parkway. How are we going to solve this problem? I mean, they're canceling fire insurance up there and everything else, and you're going to let them build new homes there? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Who did the environmental protection program up there? Is that report available? Who did the infrastructure report up there? Is that report available? I mean, where's all this going to come from? Is it coming out of my tax dollars to build streets for them? I don't like that. We are already taxed to the minute. So I just want answers. It's going to bring the property value of our homes down at least $100,000 per house. They're going to start those houses up there at $500,000. They're not even going to be built on a quarter acre of a land. That's going to drop our property value, like I said, $100,000 per house because of what they want to do up there. It's just insane. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name. Please turn on the mic. Thank you.
Oh, Dolores Armstead. Well, San Bernardino, you got what you deserve. Only 10% of, or less than 10% of you came out to vote. And many of you got excited over yourselves because the mayor actually campaigned in person for her flunky, the one you chose, the one you're not going to get anything out of. When the city files for bankruptcy again, You earned it, so don't cry. You also voted for trans other flunky, Knopf. When things don't happen, don't cry. You now have a full corrupt dais and city manager. Bloop. You basically voted again for Valdivia and his ilk. He's been cahooting with Trans and Sanchez for quite a while now. He's also had several meetings with our 4 times fired for corruption city manager. They are going to pass bonds and whatever else they can do to fill their and their cronies' pockets. Warehouses are on the way. This city is now the laughingstock of the country and definitely the state. We are already known for corrupt mayors and pay-to-play politics. And you brought them back in office. You made them stronger. Those of you who did not vote don't have the right to complain about potholes, downtown being taken over by foreign investors, and not getting services. You had the people on the dais that cared, and you didn't vote them in office. You voted for corruption, and you got it. You even got your 4 times fired again for corruption city manager, the only city manager on the list that was fired for corruption, and that's who they chose. He already showed his contempt for you as the city council. Earlier on the shelter issue, he showed his contempt. He just didn't care. He did whatever he felt like doing it. Didn't matter what you guys felt, because he's the city manager. Why did he change the council meetings? So that he can get more to pass without people coming to complain. That's why. That's why everything's changed. He's already started it. So people, you can't complain. You voted. You voted for this corrupt city council now. You got rid of the people that cared. So this city, you got what you asked for. Hopefully in the next 2 years, we can change this around and maybe get this city to go forward. But right now it's in the tank and it's embarrassing. We were the jewel of the San Bernardino County, and you have made us the pit, the armpit of San Bernardino County. You've got this council to show it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Al Palazzo, Mayor, council members, city manager. When I take people on my vision tour, I show a dozen diverse commercial developments that are 40 years old with diverse Mediterranean architecture, arches, Greek, Roman, Renaissance columns, pedestrian arcades, promenades, and commercial mixed-use residential developments. None of these buildings exist in our 1,000 inner-city square blocks. These buildings could not be built on Baseline or Highland Avenue because our zoning doesn't accommodate the footprint of these developments. And they are not developments for the downtown, but they could be built on Mount Vernon. These arcades remind me of the Rue Rivoli in Paris. I am not kidding. I could make Mount Vernon, Route 66, a destination. Our Champs-Élysées with trees like Euclid Avenue in Ontario. But more than that, Tuileries Gardens, expanding the Placita Park, pedestrian walkways that I show you on the tour through residential areas, in commercial developments that I show you on the tour, and park-like settings that we already have near Mount Vernon. I wish I could share my 1,000 ideas, but 3 minutes is not enough. Since I have been back in San Bernardino for a year, I've tried to come to every city council meeting. I want to support you. I do support you. I'm trying to work with you, all of you. But it seems like you're focused on Band-Aid approaches, and those problems will not go away as long as that's your mindset. What I'm talking about are big, long-term developments for the next 100 years, expanding our tax base so that you have the revenues to deal with these issues that you don't have money for right now. We need to look at the big picture. We cannot copy other cities, but we can learn from them. We are a unique city. No other city in the county has 1,000 square blighted blocks from Highland Avenue to Mill Street, Waterman to Mount Vernon. You go to other cities, my time's up.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk?
Georgia Locaretzos, Sharon Negretti, Treasure Ortiz, Gina Morales, Hayward Jackson, and Esmeralda Negrete.
Good evening. I'm Gina Mireles, president and founder of Mexican American Mothers Advocating for Students. Today I'm here because I have a problem with San Bernardino Police Department. I was used to the Ontario Police Department that cares about their community, is quick to provide service, and is respectful and cares about women and children. I have dealt with the machismo, the sexism, the cowardly behavior, the incompetence of an investigation, and police officers that don't care about a racist woman throwing her German Shepherd at a 7-year-old boy. If you're a cop and you don't care about a woman using her dog to intimidate a 7-year-old, you shouldn't be a cop. The handout that I gave you is regarding Mountain View Park. We're just down the street. Please visit the complex. The first time I spoke about Mountain View Park was when a young Latina was assaulted by a black woman, and she was taken by ambulance to the hospital, consequently losing the child, the little girl. Because the police officers were scared of the black population at our complex, they didn't arrest anybody. That tells me our police department is cowardly. I've lived there, and I've been harassed by citizens, and I'm a 56-year-old woman. If I'm not scared of the police, of the people living there, neither should the cops. Now, that complex, from the moment I purchased my unit, Mark Jolstead has been embezzling from the Homeowners Association. Last year, in 22, when I filed a police report regarding the embezzlement, the incompetent police officer gave Mark Jolstead a pat in the back. They increased our dues. We got hit with 2 assessments, and last year they collected close to $350,000. Please visit the complex. Visit me. I'm in Unit 42 at 149 West 6th Street. I'll show you who the domestic terrorist is, because this woman has no business in our complex, and she should have been arrested in 22 when she assaulted an 11-year-old. But she's white, so she's benefiting from white privilege. Housing and education are human right privileges. We have the right to live in a safe environment. Our children have the right to receive an education in a safe environment. Please reopen the investigation, audit the association, and look and see how many wires are out there where the city hasn't gone out on my complaint regarding all the wires. 20 pictures of wires, and there's children out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Good evening. My name is Georgia. I was going to talk about community, but I'm going to change it up a little bit. And obviously, I'm not a polished speaker or a politician, so bear with me. I want to talk about something that's been happening that is important, and that is the spay and neuter events that have been conducted on city shelter property since January that I know of. Now, this is important because we've been here talking to you about how urgent of a crisis this is with our animals. The only way you are going to control this population is by spay and neutering them. So how is it that we've been having events that have not been promoted to our citizens on our property? And I've also seen our vehicle that was donated by grant money used in addition to the vehicle of the organization. That needs to be addressed, because that tells me somebody doesn't care about our community, because we should be doing this for our citizens. It should have been promoted to our community, and it was not. So if you can look into that and ask why this is happening, I would appreciate it. The other issue is, all the Animal Control Commission meetings have been canceled until April. I would not be here talking to you and bugging you and harassing you about what's happening in our city with our animals if we had these meetings, okay? Who canceled them? You can ask the director. Now, the committees and these commissions make a difference, and I think that what happens is, you know, we're appointing people that are not doing what we need them to do, and that is reach out to the community. I have attended several neighborhood association meetings outside of my neighborhood because I care about the city and I want to see what everybody else has to say. And the most important, the number one thing that people were talking about is the homeless situation. Number two was public safety. What was missing at these meetings are commissioners. Animal Control commissioners should be at these meetings to hear what the community has to say. That's how you're going to bridge the connection to the community, not just the Parks and Recreation, which is doing a phenomenal job. I can't say enough about what Lydia's accomplished, but you need to create that connection to the community through the neighborhood association meetings, because people have a lot to say. They have questions, they have concerns. They don't come here. They don't even know who all of you are. They don't even know that there's commissions. So we need to do more to bridge the gap between the community and the disconnection and do something about what's going on. Please.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So watching tonight how your direction is being changed, how you're not being given the information that you are asking for. Teddy, I wish you would have followed up more, because just a year and a half ago, we added an additional floor to the Veneer Tower for millions of dollars so that HR could have their own room. And now we're expanding so that, as you said, another $1 million over the course of 3 years is going to be spent. Maybe you're not getting information because you're not supposed to have this information. At the end of January, there was a special study session where the city manager told you all that he had signed a letter of intent with Stifel for the bonding, upwards of $80 million on the taxpayers. But did you know that he was actually meeting with Stifel November 3rd, 3 days after you hired him? I do, because I pulled his records. He has been meeting and putting together things on an $80 million bond with no direction from our council. What do you guys have to say about that? Not only that, he met with John Valdivia on January 4th at Juan's thing. Did you know that later he's been hosting meetings with him at City Hall? Nothing is changing except the names. You guys said that you were done being puppets. And then I watched Teddy and Sandra and Juan and Fred support Basine, and John Valdivia sat right next to her last night. You know, there's a difference between wanting to get along and collaborate as a community and then collusion against it. And you can laugh and smile, Teddy, but you know what? You're a cheap sellout, and that's the problem. You don't care. You're divisive. You don't care. Don't point your finger at me. You should look at yourself in the mirror. That cheesy smile, you look just like John did while he was ripping off our community. It is time for you guys to step up. You are going to hurt us. $80 million credit cards on this community will bankrupt us. Bringing John Valdivia back here will only further sell out our community to the highest bidders. This isn't by accident. Nothing here happens by chance. It is purposeful. because this city has been sold out forever, 50 years of continuous failure to get to where we are. But the public needs to know, if you're not going to ask the questions, it's all a matter of public record. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Can you turn on the mic, please? Turn on the mic. Thank you.
My name is Haywood Jackson, and I'd like to share with you this evening about fellowship. And I'm coming from 1 John chapter 1. Thus saith the Lord, that which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes, which we have looked upon, and our hands have handled of the word of life. For the life was manifested, and we have seen it, and bear witness that, and show that is eternal life, which was with the Father, and was manifested unto us. That which we have seen and heard declare we unto you, that ye also might have fellowship with us, and truly our fellowship is with the Father and with his Son, Jesus Christ. And these things write we unto you, that your joy may be full. This then is the message we have heard of him, and declare unto you that God is light, and in him is no darkness at all. If we say that we have fellowship with him and walk in darkness, we lie and do not the truth. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Jesus Christ cleanses us from all sin. If we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sin, he is faithful and just to forgive us of our sin and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. If we say that we have not sinned, we make him a liar, and his word is not in us. Well, I wanted to talk to you about Jesus being God, but I'm going to go and deal with verse 8, if we say that we have not sinned. And I want to use 1 Peter 2, 13 and 14, where the Lord says, submit yourself to every ordinance of man for the Lord's sake, whether to the king as supreme, unto governors who are sent by him for the punishment of those who do, even for the praise of those who do good. So if you went to a supermarket and you stole an orange, we know that is sin, right? So, well, I chose this scripture to say, if you were to be driving on the freeway at 65 miles an hour and I saw you doing 90, then that means that you're sinning. If you came down in the median little area, the speed limit is 25, but I saw you doing 45, that's still sin. So, in other words, if any city law that is being given by man, in God's eyes, if you do not keep them or do them, that make you a sinner. And if you do not confess those sins are there, and God's wrath remains. God bless you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Sorry, ma'am.
Hello, Sharon Negretti. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the twilight zone in here, I swear. But during my time on the Animal Control Commission, I asked to add the TNR program to the agenda as an action item, but it was disregarded and dismissed as ineffective. Since then, community members have reached out to me questioning why there isn't a TNR program to address the issue of overpopulation and feral cats in this area. As cat season approaches, I am advocating for the establishment of a trap, neuter, release program in San Bernardino City. It has proven, trap, neuter, release has proven to be effective and a humane method of managing community cats populations. By allocating funds towards this initiative, cages can be purchased and free spay and neutering services to facilitate the humane treatment of community cats. I don't know if you realize how many feral cats there are out there, but it's crazy. TNR not only saves lives, but also addresses community concerns, reduces complaints about cats, and halts the breeding cycle. Numerous cities have successfully implemented TNR programs, leading to improved coexistence between outdoor cats and humans in shared environments. Scientific studies and real-world examples demonstrate that TNR reduces and stabilizes community cat populations, benefiting both the cats and the communities they inhabit. By implementing TNR, we can strike a balance between the needs of the humans in the communities and the welfare of feral cats, ultimately creating a more harmonious environment. I urge you to consider the implementation of a TNR program in San Bernardino as a compassionate and effective solution for managing the community cat populations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Luis Soto, Sherry Whitfield, Ben Salgado, Selena Maldonado, Gloria Mincanelli.
Please state your name.
My name is Ben Salgado. I am the Vice President at KKC Little League. First of all, I want to say thank you for your time and all the glory to God, first and foremost. The reason why I'm here is because for the longest, I've been the Vice President at KKC Little League, and it was surprising to me during election year that it got a new paint job. We got new bleachers out there and new DG. But the truth is it's an election year. It's just a Band-Aid. If you go on the inside, we have no power. We have a hole in our roof. We have water. We don't have kids on the field, and we don't get them on the field, then we'll get them on the streets. I'm an ex-gang member. I'm a Christian now. And I fight for our kids in the west side of the community, and I'm going to continue to fight for them. Ray Gutierrez, years ago, fought for that park. And it wasn't too recently that we got a hold of his family member. He's a legend in the city of San Bernardino. And I don't know, I haven't seen not one, except for Kimberly Calvin. I had the honor of speaking to Mr. Ben Reynoso. That's not even his ward, but he knows. So the next time you guys got a kid out there with the gun chasing after a San Bernardino PD officer or somebody, it's because you guys abandoned them. You guys need to put them back on the field and help us out. I haven't seen nobody go out there, and I reached out. And believe me, this is just the beginning. We just got the ball rolling. And we got heavy hitters coming behind us, way above your guys'. And it's not a threat, but believe me, when you guys start finding out, when people above you start calling you, don't jump then, jump now. Start helping us out now, because it's our kids we're fighting for. If we don't fight for them, fentanyl will fight for them. We don't fight for them, the gang members will fight for them. But then you guys want to say the kids in the west side are this and that. I don't see not one Starbucks on the west side. I don't see not one, nothing on the west side. But you want to say this is your city, our city? You're right, but it seems like the boundaries stop right before it hits the west side. I continue and leave it in God's hands because I know God will prevail, and we will. With or without the city, we're going to take back that park. And you guys will hear from him later. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
My name is Sherry Whitfield. This is my first time being in this setting. Hello to the mayor and the council. I would just like to say that I became a resident of San Bernardino in 1986 because of the Air Force Base. And I bought my second home in 1994. I've sent my children through college and high school, elementary school in this city. I am a first responder. My husband also is a first responder. And I love my city. And I've been told this is a cursed city. And I began to tell them, I don't believe that. I don't believe that this is a cursed city. But as I begin to live here and see, I'm like, is this city really cursed? But my job is to pray that this curse be lifted, however God see fit for it to be, because I know this city can be better, because it was better in 1986 when I came here. I'm still proud, and I talk up for my city because this is where I live, and this is my home. And I work with people who in Redlands, Loma Linda, Rancho, and Eastvale, and every time something negative happens, they say, what do you expect? You in San Bernardino. And I said to them, well, you working here, so you should be careful about what you say, because you have to come here and work. So the reason why I'm here is because the city has gone down to trash. And I have to decide which way I can tell people that come to California to visit me how to get to my house. I have people living out of state, and they want to come and visit California, they want to see me. And I have to tell them, oh, no, don't go this way, go that way, so they don't have to see the trash, the debris, the pothole, and how to get to my house. I live on the north end in the city section called Cimarron Ranch. I purchased that house in 1994. It's a great community of people, I always have great neighbors, a great city. That's considered the sixth ward. I know Councilman Kelvin have came there, had hosted meeting, and I'm proud of that area. But when I can't drive down Cajon Boulevard because of the trash, the debris, alongside the railroad, there's trash and debris, and it seems like nobody cares. It's an embarrassment to me. And I want to be proud of my city, and I want to welcome people to come to my city to visit and not make up excuses that, oh, the city is doing this, the city is doing that, they haven't got there. I want to be proud of my city. I want to be just as proud of the person who live in Eastvale, the person who live in Rancho Cucamonga, in Ontario, in Redlands, in Loma Linda. I want to just be proud of that of San Bernardino, because this is a great place to live. It's a beautiful city. When you see the mountain, when the snow, they don't have like that in other cities as close as we do. So I'm really proud, and I just want my city, the leaders here to stand up and do better for the city, because you do have people that can support you. I'm willing to work on a task force to help clean up this city. That's how much I care. And I'm willing to rally to get somebody to stand with me. God bless.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Luis Soto. I wanted to comment on item number 1 on the agenda and say that I'm in favor of the zoning district classification to meet housing needs. And thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Selena. Mayor, City Councilman. A561252, A561084, A561443, A561450, A561469, A561668, A561725, A561824, A561949, A562037, A56138. I can continue, but I only have 3 minutes. What you just heard are numbers, right? Wrong. They're not just numbers. These are loving dogs that are currently sitting in the shelter and that have been placed on the euthanasia list for absurd reasons such as being there for too long, kennel stress, being fearful. I like to see you get lost, wander around, and be in a complete survival mode, then plucked off the street and put into a facility with over 100 dogs crying and barking. I mean, you would be fearful and stressful too, right? I like to point out the situation that you just experienced with quote from Councilman Theodore Sanchez, having your backs against the wall. This is exactly what happened and what I witnessed at the Animal Commission meeting where Christine Watson had proposed the partnership to intake the surrounding cities of Colton, Fontana, and Rialto animals due to time sensitivity, and had already submitted it without advisory or knowledge. So the commission advisory backs against the wall, right? The millions donated by San Manuel, among other organizations, what did it break down and be put towards really? The city shelter, or should I call it a pound, or better yet, the prison, does not show any upgrades, big or small, that benefit the well-being of all the animals there. It's a dump. I urge you to make an announced visit to see for yourself. any money granted should be put towards a remodel of our current facility or upgrading to a larger one so that our animals are no longer crammed in the single kennels, attacking one another, and killing them due to the lack of space and overcapacity. Yet we are so called in the works of making larger facility for outside intake from the partnership. Again, San Bernardino taking the short end of the stick. How about putting those funds towards community resource, education, spay and neuter, registry, and chip? It's really not that hard. There are other cities that are doing it and have the mobile going to areas, especially the homeless encampment, where that's also issues because they have pets, right? So let's spay and neuter their pets so they're not multiplying. San Bernardino City animals matter and need to be the focus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please state your name.
Hi, my name is Gloria Maquinales. I'm also a resident of San Bernardino for over 40 years. My parents, they bought their house before I was born, and I lived in that house until I bought my own house, which is next door, and also in the west side of San Bernardino. I'm coming to you today to talk about KKC. To me, it's emotional. You know, Ms. Tran, I voted for you when you ran for election because you said you went to Cal State, you grew up here, you want to keep things in San Bernardino, bring business into San Bernardino, but our park right there on 14th and Mount Vernon, the oldest Little League in San Bernardino, is falling apart. Yes, you guys painted it, we got new benches, but the hole in our roof, the electricity has been gone for over 2 years. We've been back and forth in contact with Parks and Recs. This year, yes, you guys gave us a Band-Aid. We can use Encanto Park. But that park, again, it's a little bit far for our kids in the west side, on this side of baseline, to have to go to that side of baseline if they don't have a ride. We need to make sure that our kids are safe, so they can't play at KKC right now. We need to get our lights back on. We talked to Parks and Recs, and it's like going to deaf ears. We've contacted them over and over, and nothing is done. Now they're saying it's a city issue. The city has to approve the funding for those lights, but when it was stolen, I'm sure the city has insurance on the building and probably already got an insurance payout. I don't know for sure, but you know, being in business, you would think you would have insurance on a building that's in San Bernardino. Encanto Park, it's still not safe. The playground is burned down. There's no backstop for the kids to play when we're having our games. Yes, it does help us momentarily, but it is a Band-Aid. We need to get KKC fixed. We need to make sure that our kids have a safe place to play, so we need to have our lights fixed. We need to have the hole in the roof that's in the snack bar fixed. We've sent countless inquiries to Mitch. Before Mitch, it was Corey. Before him, I believe it was Matt, but nothing gets done. We're here today, we're pleading to you, help us help the kids in our neighborhood. I don't have kids that play there, but I've been on the board for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe longer, because I grew up in that neighborhood. Growing up in that neighborhood, I could hear the kids playing from our kitchen windows as we ate dinner. You know, it's just an exciting experience for you to be able to go out to a game and see the neighborhood kids having fun, doing something that brings joy to the community. I hope you listen to us today and you help us.
Thank you.
James Smith, Jose Cisneros, Michael Chavez, Luis Ojeda, Les.
Please state your name.
My name is Michael Chavez. I'm also here to shed a little light on KKC Little League. I'm over 40 years resident as well. I was born community, never left San Bernardino, still reside in San Bernardino. My kids go to school in San Bernardino. I played at Little League Little League all the way through high school, baseball. And my kids follow the same way. My son just graduated from Indian Springs, and he's at UC Davis on a full ride scholarship. What I mean by that is I didn't get all the opportunities growing up. I just try to give my kids better than what I was given. And going through the community of what you're given and where you're from and what you can be grateful for is a field to play on. And that was my kid. He was given that opportunity. I just want to get all the other kids in this community the same effort that I've given my kid, to give them a nice field to play on. We're not asking for Dodger Stadium, but just working lights, a working snack bar, restrooms that parents are okay with staying at practices and staying at games so they can go to the restroom if they have to. Even to take the youngster, the little siblings that you have watching, just to watch, go get a snack from the snack bar or use the restroom. Just maintenance the field where the grass isn't going crazy, just little maintenance, just little things like that. Because coming from where I came from, like I said, Little League, all the way to high school, and then my son also played Little League. Now he's in a university. It's just so much growth you can do through sports, and I think it's very important for our youth, especially in that part of San Bernardino, get that recognition instead of getting taken to other places to go play like Rialto. I got a bunch of friends that have their kids playing travel ball, and it's because they don't want to play in San Bernardino. I want to bring it back where you're happy to play in San Bernardino and be like a Jaden Daniels, next Heisman Trophy winner. There you go. That's it.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Yes, my name is James Smith, and Honorable Mayor and City Council people, first of all, I'd like to thank I know we had an election a couple days ago, and I wanted to personally thank these three individuals on the dais there for their service. I think they've done a tremendous job to keep this community going, and I think we need to take our hats off to them. The people have spoken, and there are some new people that are going to be coming on the board, but I want to thank them for their service. I moved here in 1944, and I've never served on the city council, but I've seen a lot of council meetings, and these are great people, and I hope they stay very active in the community. I wanted to also thank the community for supporting No on W. I think that was tremendous effort to satisfy, to solidify the fire department here and the county fire department, and I want to thank everybody for their support for that. I'm on last week we had the election of the new officers for the Arts and Historical Preservation Commission. The new chairman is Robert Porter. I think many of you know that he loves San Bernardino, and I love San Bernardino too, so I'm his vice chairman. So we're going to be working diligently to preserve the arts and historical preservation here in San Bernardino. I'm a former state president of an organization called the Native Sons of the Golden West in 1981, and we're going very strong in the city of San Bernardino. I want to thank the speakers who spoke positively about the city. It's a free country. Everybody voted their minds, and I think we need to accept that as certification that we moved forward here in the city of San Bernardino. And I see Treasurer's in the audience here, and she is now in a runoff for her seat. And I see that the Sun endorsed her candidacy, and we'll see what happens. But it's a free world, and the public has spoken. That's very important. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Jose Cisneros, and my grandfather was Raymond Gutierrez. My grandfather devoted his life to helping kids and bringing sports to the West Side. He volunteered as an umpire and basically promoted togetherness and family. He was able to get the Knights of Columbus to adopt a charter, and they created a Little League. And that Little League sits on 14th and Mount Vernon. Well, 2 years ago, they stole the lights and the power. So this Little League has been without power. And the city owns the building. You know, the city owns the lights. These kids can't practice at night. You know, these kids, they don't have bathrooms to go to because the building is in poor shape. You know, youth sports is essential for children. You know, youth sports, it promotes community involvement. You know, kids that play youth sports are also more likely to play sports in high school. Kids that play sports in high school are more likely to attend college, not to play sports in college, to attend college. You know, that's what we want for our kids in San Bernardino, for our kids on the west side. We want our kids to thrive, to succeed, to have options, to be able to have childhood memories that they can look back on and be proud of. You know, this is our neighborhood. This is where we grow up. You know, but right now, they don't have that. You know, we see a lot of money being spent on parks around the city of San Bernardino, and it's awesome to see the parks, Paris Hill, Succombe Lake, you know, getting fixed up and getting makeovers. But, you know, we need to invest some money in our youth, in our kids. You know, they're our future. You know, so it's very, very important. You know, my grandfather gave his life. That's why they named the field after him. You know, he would umpire games for free. He would go up to the Western Regionals where they would bring kids from other states. All the all-star kids would come. You know, they would volunteer. I was too young, but my brothers, my nephews, my cousins, it was family. That's what we did. That's, you know, we grew up together, and a lot of families grow up at the ballpark, you know? So we're asking for help. The Knights of Columbus Little League needs help, okay? Please, the kids in the west side, they need help.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Les. Hey, to that speaker who just got done speaking, even though you were looking on that left side, they don't care. They're not trying to hear none of that. They don't care about any of that. I want to say to the city manager, your face is starting to fill in now. And when you first came, your face was sunken in. To the city attorney, we should have been let you go when we went bankrupt. Every time Councilwoman Calvin says something, you jump on her, but you don't jump on the left side whenever they hanging with our last mayor who has sexual harassment charges. You should have addressed them and told them that they were wrong. And to the young Chicano women out there, please do not be like Sandra. Sandra allows men to dictate everything that she do. Whenever Fred or Theodore says yes, she says yes. Whenever they say no, she say no. So to young girls out there, don't let no man dictate your actions like her. And then to my other Chicano family too, this left side, they sell out to y'all culture and they sell out to the people as well. So don't even look for them to even help y'all, trust me. Theodore Sanchez, it was a building downtown that we had to help the homeless people get out of the building, and he wasn't even nowhere to be found to help the homeless people. We were out there helping them find housing. He was nowhere to be found. So you think he care about a baseball league? No disrespect, but you think this man care? But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. And to my right side, I'm sorry that y'all didn't get y'all position. Man, hopefully this city don't go bankrupt again, because we have a lot of people with their hands in the cookie jar. City manager, city attorney, this whole left side, they all corrupted. All right.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Hello, my name is Luis Ojeda. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak. So first of all, I wanted to congratulate to the winners and the losers. So, you know, democracy is, you know, they say the words of a government, but it's the best that we have, right? So I want to thank you guys for your service. I know it's hard. A lot of people, you know, think that they can do things better, but once they get into the inside of things, it's different, and I know that. So I disagree with some of you in certain issues. I don't have nothing personal against none of you guys. So I wish you guys the best, and hopefully you can finish your term with flying colors. So also wanted to bring up the issue with trucks. You know that I used to own a trucking company, and trucks, warehouses, and the logistics is dear to my heart. And the reason is everybody's quick to pick on trucks and truck drivers, and they don't realize how hard it is for them. And, you know, everybody talks about homeless, and we have to be empathetic and sympathetic with them, and I agree with that, right? But when you have a truck driver that he's not able to find a place to park his truck, where there's people that buys, you know, empty lots that used to be a dump site for illegal dumping and you know, a campsite for druggies and thieves. And these people come in, clean it up, grade it, put a nice fence, and park trucks. And then we have the enforcement. Commercial enforcement goes over there, start giving tickets. Why don't we do the same thing with homeless? Oh, I know why, because we have all these nonprofits that start crying about them, for them. So when are we gonna have people crying about the truck drivers? Remember, we're essential to you guys for the economy, okay? So another thing that I wanna bring up, people keep asking me, hey, Luis, when are we gonna do the SB Food Fest? The last time we did it was Cinco de Mayo. It went great. We have over 5,000 people. And I talked to the city manager, he says, yes, we're gonna do it. And I've been reaching out to my council members, and they say, yes, we're gonna do it. But I'm still waiting. Nobody has called me. Nobody has said anything. So it's March. Next month is gonna be April. Oh, it's May. So I think we're kind of late for that. So hopefully for Independence Days, we can get something going for SB Food Fest, or maybe Dia de los Muertos, or maybe Halloween, or any celebration, you know? But please, guys, let's put it together. Thank you.
Thank you. It is now 8:01 p.m. We are going to start with our public hearings, and then we'll resume with the public comments after the public hearings. The first public hearing is item number 3, resolution approving street vacation 15.30440 of a portion along 9th Street and Tippecanoe Avenue and reservation of utilities therein. Ward 1. I'm opening the public hearing at 8:01 p.m. Could city staff provide a presentation on this item?
Yes, hi, good evening, Mayor, City Council. Josh Ramatinos, Deputy Director, Economic Development. This evening, we're presenting 3 street vacations, the first of which is a proposed vacation for 2 different segments along the area of 9th Street and Tippecanoe. The applicant, who is not present this evening, is PME Oakmont Tippecanoe, and the stated reason for the request was to accommodate development. It should also be noted that the vacation area was a condition of the approval. You'll see here the proposed vacation on a portion of 9th Street to the left and the portion of Tippecanoe on the right. It's a plat map. And here is an aerial view. Basically, the city is going to be vacating old right-of-way sidewalk easement and access, and there will be improvements made to these areas in conjunction with the conditions of approval. Utility companies were notified. Southern California Edison has easements there, and they will be preserved at their request. And the notice of this hearing was posted and published and mailed to the surrounding property owners and stakeholders within 1,000 feet of the proposed vacation site. At this time, I'll take any questions.
Any questions from the council members?
Move to approve. Oh, sorry, we have one speaker for this item.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Walt Farrar.
Hi, Walt Farrar. Can I speak concerning this thing?
Yes, you may speak. You have 3 minutes.
Vacation. Oh, great, thank you. I wasn't ready because I thought we were going to have to wait till everything was over. I'm not a resident of San Bernardino, but I live about 600 feet east of San Bernardino in Highland. I don't know exactly what the vacation means, but Google tells me that you're going to give the people that are building there the right to use that land. So for those of you that don't live around there, Tippecanoe runs north and south in that area between 6th Street and 9th. The east side of Tippecanoe, I believe, belongs to the city of Highland. The west side belongs to San Bernardino. So I guess the cities don't talk to each other about what's going on. The east side is you're not capable of walking up the east side. You'd have to walk in the street. There's no sidewalk, no nothing. It's dirt, and there's gutter going part of the way, a drainage ditch. So the west side has got the warehouses on it. There's a sidewalk that goes from 6th Street up to the south end of this warehouse you're working with, or this developer. If you give them this land, the sidewalk will stop, and there will be no way for people to get from 6th Street to 9th Street on foot, except going out in the street, which is a real busy street. We have schools on the east side of Tippecanoe. Kids would have to transition across 6th Street to get there. You're going to have them probably trying to dodge cars to do that. Not a good thing. So it's, this is what I'm understanding is going on. So I might be completely wrong in the geography here, but the area between that warehouse and Tippecanoe Street is what is concerned. That does not show the warehouse. That's just an empty lot. So the warehouse sits about 20 feet off of Tippecanoe. They put it really close to the street. I would hope you guys push them to putting a sidewalk in for people to get back and forth. And the other part of it, a few minutes, they've dug up the street pretty seriously. The street was paved probably a year and a half ago. Tippecanoe was beautiful. They've dug it up. Now you have to dodge the potholes that they've left in it. They are doing a terrible job resurfacing it. And maybe you get on these people about putting it back the way they found it. So that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no additional comments.
Thank you. I'm now closing the public hearing at 8:06 p.m. for deliberation and action. Do we have any discussions or comments from the council? Councilmember Alexander?
Thank you, Mayor. About what that gentleman just stated, is there going to be a sidewalk?
Yes, sir. There's going to be street improvements that are required in association with the development. The developer is going to be required to improve that in full compliance with ADA and our traditional off-site requirements.
Is he also going to repave the street?
My understanding is we typically require the developer to repave half the street width, so I would assume that that's part of the conditions of approval, but I cannot definitively speak to that.
So when can you definitively speak to that? Because I really don't work well with that.
Well, again, this project was already approved. We're just dealing with the actual vacation of the right-of-way at this point.
Okay. Well, could you let this mayor and council know if the sidewalk's going to be taken care of, if the street's going to be repaved? Because if we already have a clean paved street and they're tearing it up for, infrastructure, if they can repave it back, that would help.
Yes, sir. Those are traditionally required with these types of developments.
All right. So when are we going to know? Because I want to know. So when are we going to know?
Yeah, I can give you confirmation tomorrow, sir.
In an email?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes, the offsite improvements were, I'm pretty sure, were conditions of approval. So we approved this project months ago. At this point, all we're doing is deciding whether we're going to vacate that land. But with the development is going to come sidewalks and street improvements. Right now, if you were to go there, there are no sidewalks, there is no curb, and as testimony here said, the streets are all broken up. So this is a positive for us. So I'll move to approve.
Okay. Any other comments? Seeing none, there's a motion and a second. Oh, Councilmember Reynoso?
There's a warehouse there right now?
Yes, sir. The proposed project is an industrial warehouse.
So basically, the intention of this is to repave some street one time and put some sidewalks?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes, my only concern, as a gentleman who came up earlier mentioned, the fact that there's an elementary school near proximity and a high school is of concern to me, especially with our streets and being in the bad condition that they're in, especially in that area. I hope that, my hope is that that developer doesn't just stop at the beginning of maintaining that street, because he's going to have trucks coming in. And it's going to go through those neighborhoods. Just something to let the staff know.
Noted, thank you.
Those are my concerns with where it's being situated right now.
Mayor, Councilmember Bonner, as we move forward, we'll work with the developer. Normally, they're only there to put in the initial roadway and the curb and gutter, and then turn them over to the city for the right-of-way. But we'll work with them.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, there's a motion and a second.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Barra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa? Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Moving on to the next public hearing. Item number 4, resolution approving street vacation 15.30437 of a portion of Harris Street between North I Street and J Street and south of West 9th Street, and the reservation of utilities therein in the First Ward. I'm opening the public hearing at 8:13 p.m. Could city staff provide a presentation on this item?
Yes, hi. I'll be presenting on this item once again. Let me just see if I can get the PowerPoint up. Okay, so the second street vacation this evening is, as the presentation says, the portion of Harris Street between North I Street and J Street and south of West 9th Street. The applicant is O&A Development. They are present this evening and available for comment or questions. The reason for the request is to vacate this portion of Harris Street is to complete a lot merger and accommodate the development of 5 individual parcels, making them contiguous. Vacating this portion of the unused street will adjoin the split parcels, thus maximizing the potential for future development. You'll see here that this is oriented north. This is the area of the proposed street vacation. And here is an aerial image. You'll see that terminates against terminates against the old street width. Proposed street vacation was consistent with the general plan. Planning Commission concluded that it was categorically exempt from CEQA. There is no significant impact on the environment. Utility companies were notified, SoCal Gas, SoCal Edison, and San Bernardino Water. Easements will be preserved per their request. Notice of the hearing was posted and published and mailed to the surrounding property owners and stakeholders within 1,000 feet of the proposed vacation. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, any comments?
No, we have no request to speak.
Okay, I'm now closing the public comment hearing at 8:12 p.m. for deliberation and action. Do we have any discussion or comments from the council?
Move to approve.
Seeing no comments, there's a motion and there's a second. Madam City Clerk, please call for the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Barra?
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
I apologize, I have to go back. Councilmember Figueroa and Mayor Pro Tem Schroeder off the dais. Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
And Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Councilmember Figueroa is returning to the dais.
And Councilmember Figueroa? Motion passes unanimously with 6 affirmative votes.
Thank you. Next public hearings, item number 5, resolution approving street vacation 15.30439 of a portion Broadway Avenue east of North J Street and north of Main Street and reservation of utilities therein in the First Ward. I'm opening the public hearing at 8:13 p.m. Could city staff provide a presentation on this item?
Okay, so the final street vacation is a portion of Broadway Avenue east of North J Street and north of Main Street. The applicant, who is not present this evening, is Brian and Billy Henley. The stated reason for the petition to vacate this portion of street is to accommodate the future development of a parcel of land that will include a 25-bed congregate housing facility with a 45-bed assisted living facility. Vacating this portion of unused street will adjoin a split parcel, thus maximizing future development. You'll see here that the former street runs right through the middle of the parcel. That is one parcel that is split. Here's an accurate aerial view of that parcel. The proposed street vacation is consistent with the general plan. Planning Commission concluded that it is categorically exempt from CEQA and there are no significant impacts on the environment. Utility companies were notified and their easements will be preserved, and the notice of the hearing was posted and published and mailed to the surrounding owners and stakeholders within 1,000 feet of the vacation area. Any questions?
Thank you. Do we have any public comments?
We have no speakers for this item.
Thank you. I'm now closing the public hearing at 8:14 p.m. for deliberation and action. Do we have
Move to
comments?
approve.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Any comments? Seeing none, can we call for the votes?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next public hearing is item number 6, public hearing on annexation number 39 to Community Facilities District 20191 in the First Ward. The public hearing to consider annexation proceedings and elections for City of San Bernardino, Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 39 is now open. Do any council members wish to hear the staff report?
No.
All right. We will now receive comments, protests, and questions from any persons in the audience who wish to speak on this matter. Each person may address the City Council for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please submit your speaker slip to the City Clerk. Madam City Clerk, are there any written protests?
I have received 0 written protests.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, are there any persons registered to vote within annexation number 39 of Community Facilities District number 2019-1? If so, how many registered voters are there?
The County of San Bernardino Register of Voters has certified that there are no registered voters within annexation number 39 of Community Facilities District number 2019-1.
Thank you. I now declare the public hearing closed, the time being 8:16 p.m. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-043 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, calling an election to submit to the qualified electors the question of levying a special tax within the area proposed to be annexed to Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 39.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call for the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt a resolution 2024-04?
Sorry, Mayor, can I read this section? The official ballot has been opened and all votes are in favor of the proposition presented on the ballot, and the election is now closed.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt a resolution 2024-044 of the Mayor and the City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, declaring election results for Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 39. There's a motion already by Mayor Pro Tem Charette. Is there a second? Second. Councilmember Figueroa. Madam City Clerk, please take the vote.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. I would now ask for a motion to waive further reading and introduce by title only an ordinance MC 1630 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, amending ordinance number MC 1522 and levying special taxes to be collected during fiscal year 2023-2024, to pay the annual cost of the maintenance and servicing of landscaping, lighting, water quality improvements, graffiti, streets, street sweeping, parks and trail maintenance, a reserve fund for capital replacement, and administrative expenses with respect to City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District Number 2019-1 Maintenance Services. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
I'll second.
There's a motion and second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Sanchez,
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra,
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Reynoso,
Yes.
Councilmember Callan,
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The next public hearing, item number 7, public hearing on annexation number 40 to Community Facilities District 2019-1 in the Ward, 5th Ward. The public hearing to consider annexation proceedings and elections for City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 40 is now open. Do any council members wish to hear the staff report? Seeing none, do any members of the council have any questions of staff or wish to make any comments? Councilmember Reynoso?
Any insight on how soon Quick Quack, this is for the Quick Quack car wash, right? How soon they're going to be developing?
I don't have a timeline. I'd be happy to get that to you tomorrow.
Thank you, Councilmember. We will now receive comments, protests, questions from any persons in the audience who wish to speak on this matter. Each person may address the City Council for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please submit your speaker slip to the City Clerk.
We have no request to speak.
Thank you. Has the City Clerk received any written protests?
I have received 0 written protests.
Madam City Clerk, are there any persons registered to vote within annexation number 40 of Community Facilities District number 2019-1? If so, how many registered voters are there?
The County of San Bernardino Registrar of Voters has certified that there are no registered voters within annexation number 40 of Community Facilities District number 2019-1.
Thank you. I now declare the public hearing closed, the time being 8:21 p.m. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-045
Second.
of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, calling an election to submit to the qualified electors the question of levying a special tax within the area proposed to be annexed to Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 40. I believe there was a motion and second already. Please call for the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. The official ballot has been opened and all votes are in favor of the proposition presented on the ballot, and the election is now closed.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt a resolution 2024-046 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, declaring election results for Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 40. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second.
So who was the second?
Councilmember Alexander. Madam City Clerk, please take the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. I would now ask for a motion to waive further reading and introduce by title only an ordinance MC 1631 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, amending ordinance number MC 1522 and levying special taxes to be collected during fiscal year 2023-2024 to pay the annual cost of the maintenance and servicing of landscaping, lighting, water quality improvements, graffiti, streets, street sweeping, parks, and trail maintenance, a reserve fund for capital replacement and administrative expenses with respect to the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services. Is there a motion?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, take the vote.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, public hearing on annexation number 41 to Community Facilities District 20191 in the First Ward. The public hearing to consider annexation proceedings and elections for the City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 41 is now open. Do any council members wish to hear the staff report? Seeing none. Do any council members have any questions of staff or wish to make any comments? Seeing none, we will now receive comments, protests, and questions from any persons in the audience who wish to speak on this matter. Each person may address the City Council for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please submit your speaker slip to the City Clerk.
We have one request to speak, David Friedman.
Oh, no, he's back there.
David Freeman would like to come up and speak. This is number 8. You have 3 minutes.
I just want to say that I bought this land 7 years ago because if it was good enough for in and out across the street, it was good enough for me. And I knew that the city probably wouldn't work with a 23-year-old developer at the time I bought it. And so we were thankful to be able to work with Gian to make that 5th Street Gateway project happen. I think it came out really beautiful. I think it competes and supersedes anything, even in Palm Springs, just the level of design we went to above and beyond for that project. Damon Alexander, we added 2 electric charging stations, so you got it, man. And I also want to thank the city manager. Thank you for fixing the lights in downtown, and the city council. There's still a lot more to fix, but I'm very happy, and I just want to thank you guys for that. So have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Has the City Clerk received written protests?
I've received 0 written protests.
Madam City Clerk, are there any persons registered to vote within annexation number 41 of Community Facilities District number 2019-1? If so, how many registered voters are there?
The County of San Bernardino Registrar of Voters has certified that there are no registered voters within annexation number 41 of Community Facilities District number 2019-1.
Thank you. I now declare the public hearing closed, the time being 8:26 p.m. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-047 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, calling an election to submit to the qualified electors the question of levying a special tax within the area proposed to be annexed to Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 41. Is there a motion?
Make a move.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk, please call for the votes.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. The official ballot has been opened and all votes are in favor of the proposition presented on the ballot, and the election is now closed.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt a resolution 2024-048 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, declaring election results for Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 41. Is there a motion? There's a motion and there's a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. I would now ask for a motion to waive further reading and introduce by title only an ordinance MC 1632 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, amending ordinance number MC 1522 and levying special taxes to be collected during fiscal year 2023-2024 to pay the annual cost of the maintenance and servicing of landscaping, lighting, water quality improvements, graffiti, streets, street sweeping, parks, and trail maintenance, a reserve fund for the capital replacement and administrative expenses with respect to City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District Number 2019-1 Maintenance Services. Is there a motion?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin? Oh, sorry, she's off the dais. And Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes with 6 affirmative votes.
Thank you. And we have the last public hearing item, number 9, public hearing on annexation number 38 to Community Facilities District 20191 in the First Ward. The public hearing to consider annexation proceedings and elections for City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2019-1 Maintenance Services annexation number 38 is now open. Do any council members wish to hear the staff report? Seeing none. Do any members of the council have any questions or staff of staff or wish to make any comments? Seeing none, we will now receive comments, protests, questions from any persons in the audience who wish to speak on this matter. Each person may address the City Council for a maximum of 3 minutes. Please submit your speaker to the City Clerk.
We have no request to speak.
Thank you. Has the City Clerk received written protests?
I have received 0 written protests.
Madam City Clerk, are there any persons registered to vote within annexation number 38 of Community Facilities District number 2019-1? If so, how many registered voters are there?
The County of San Bernardino Register of Voters has certified that there are no registered voters within annexation number 38 of Community Facilities District number 2019-1.
Thank you. I now declare the public hearing closed, the time being 8:30 p.m. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2024-049 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, calling an election to submit to the qualified electors the question of levying a special tax within the area proposed to be annexed to Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 38. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes with 6 affirmative votes. The official ballot has been opened and all votes are in favor of the proposition presented on the ballot, and the election is now closed.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt a resolution 2024-050 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, declaring election results for Community Facilities District number 2019-1, Maintenance Services, annexation number 38. Is there a motion?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. I would now ask for a motion to waive further reading and introduce by title only an ordinance MC 1633 of the Mayor and City Council of the City of San Bernardino, California, amending ordinance number MC 1522 and levying special taxes to be collected during fiscal year 2023 to 2024 to pay the annual cost of the maintenance and servicing of landscaping, lighting, water quality improvements, graffiti, street sweeping, parks and trail maintenance, a reserve fund for the capital replacement, and administrative expenses with respect to City of San Bernardino Community Facilities District number 2019-1 Maintenance Services. Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion second. Madam City Clerk?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. And that concludes our public hearing. We will now go back to public comments. Madam City Clerk?
If I could make a quick comment, I want to thank, is that okay, Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Shane Spicer for, waiting quietly. He put in a lot of work to get this done. These community facilities districts make serious improvements on our main corridors and wherever development goes. So this took a lot of work. So I want to thank you for that and for being the best dressed here tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember. Madam City Clerk?
Sorry. Lydia Savala, Junior Carrillo, Norma Gallegos, and Esmeralda Negrete.
Thank you.
Lydia Savala. I am here this evening to ask the big question, why your constituents are being left out of the loop, that's current tense, with regard to the benefit of low-cost spay-neuter services on city premises for at least the last 2 months, every Wednesday and sometimes Sunday. My 94-year-old mother, who lives in the 3rd Ward, has spent more than several $100s in the last several weeks to neuter 2 cats at a full-service veterinary office. More than $300 from her Social Security check. She is 94 years old. She doesn't even like cats. But there's so many damn cats in the neighborhood. She has taken this upon herself as a humanitarian person. So I have to admit it came as a huge surprise to find out that the Paw Mission has been providing these services on Chandler without any communication to our community, to your constituents. We come before you month after month after month, pleading for these services, and it's one big secret. Never have I been more disgusted and offended that we were left out of the loop. Today, I took 2 dogs on behalf of my brother and my mother, one he rescued from the Shandon Hills golf course. So I don't understand why we're being ignored. I don't understand why this isn't being communicated to your residents. And I don't understand why members of our community are being treated with such complete disregard. And it makes me wonder if the Band of Indians made one big mistake giving us that $1.1 million for the van that is like a plane without a pilot. And perhaps they should have given that money to the Paw Mission. And I would certainly have no objection to providing the Paw Mission with that money so that they could continue to provide those services that they provide at least once or twice a week. And I can assure you that your constituents would be lining up to take advantage of those services.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
Hi, I'm Carmen Gallegos. I was just going to regards to the sidewalk, but I guess you have a whole status on the sidewalks. You should just have someone just implement just a whole group to just take care of it. But anyways, this happened 3 years ago. Actually, when I moved on this section of San Bernardino, I noticed I went through a series of code enforcement with everything around me, even the eyesore. I'm glad that you actually you guys did a great job by taking care of some of these buildings, because those were the eyesores where the criminal activity was happening. And it led to where I was living too. So I had to constantly call for these ridiculous things. I mean, skeleton crew for a police department, that's ridiculous. I mean, and especially their car washes, compared to issues there's gonna be more car washes than cars than there shouldn't be a skeleton crew at all. I mean, this is way back when, but anyways, I did have to tackle that down. Animals, they should just have free licenses, because we're wearing their clothing, the shoes, we eat them. I mean, it should be free, even on the sales tax. And I mean, it should be, even for San Bernardino, just to start, just have a series of just free licensing and fixing. It should be a no-brainer. That should be on the city. And unfortunately, we do have a city that has all the jails. If it was up to me, they'd say take the jails out and put some stadiums in, because we need people that are going to help the situation, not defeat it, which you're against right now. because you do deal with a lot of different people. But anyways, how can I take my one sidewalk piece, which again, it was a code enforcement conversation forever because they also knew each other, and they took my car instead of taking their chop shops. But I'm glad you eliminated the chop shops around here because that added on to the dropping of a lot of trash in big pieces. And they did that in the mountain too. I had to mention it to someone else because I like, if they look out the desert, the mountain, your environment, even how many eagles there are. Because I'm glad they stopped those fireworks because that hurt a lot of people. And it went to fires that they shouldn't even have. I mean, people didn't call because they were so random, like, oh, is it a training? I mean, that's illegal training altogether. I mean, that was a waste of time for me to call, and I shouldn't have to stress over it. And I'm in a certain section in the sidewalk, and I mean, a certain block. All this crap happened, and the people that were trespassing lead on to other crimes, even to kidnapping. So I just want you to know, too, they also let out the dogs. I think they should have all free license for that reason. The criminals do that. They let out the dogs, and I've even seen the criminals around me where they were hunting down from the dogs right across down the street because they were the ones letting them out. So I think, like I said, there should be free license just so they can do their job, be there for the people. Because I'm going to tell you, all this high technology didn't hear any fireworks. I mean, you're kidding me. You got all these people that ADT, Brinks, everything, they couldn't hear or see anything.
Thank
But anyways,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please state your name.
How you doing? Ron Shields. I don't know if I have my slip still. I don't know if you were supposed to take this, but
Please provide your slip to the city clerk.
Make it plain and simple. Lifelong San Bernardino in 73, so I'm 51 years old. Been here all my life, never been anywhere else. And I just plain and simply want to thank the San Bernardino Police Department COAST program. The community outreach and support team saved my life, and I know by saving my life, they've saved many more lives because that's how many people I touch. So by them taking the time and just listening and getting an understanding, assessing the situation, instead of just coming in with a badge and authority, do as I say, oh, you're not doing as I say, I'm going to attack you, arrest you, shoot you. So appreciative. Thank you for the good work. Hopefully we can get more programs like that.
Thank you. Next speaker.
I think I'm the last one. Junior Carrillo. I'll just put a little spin on positive here, okay? First of all, I want to congratulate Juan Figueroa. I guess you're still sitting in that chair. I want to congratulate Mario Flores. I mean, these won the seats outright. I want to congratulate Kim Canos and Henry Nichols for a runoff. I want to congratulate Jim Penman and Treasurer Ortiz for a runoff. Being a commissioner, it's a countless, thankless, tedious, and what I do as a commissioner is a small percentage compared to what our council people have. And we don't have to agree with them. I don't agree with my own councilman. I don't. But you know what? That's okay. But what we need in this city, we need to respect our council people. Whether you agree with them, whether you like them, you know, including our mayor, you know. I mean, whether you voted for her or whether you didn't, she's our mayor. You got to give her that respect, along with our council people. I mean, I want to thank Ben, Kim, and Damon. I mean, you guys, when you first started, you weren't getting paid. You got a raise in between. I think Fred and Damon were the only ones that said, I don't need the money. So when you take people that are community people, that are putting their heart and soul into the city, and then I see people come up here and criticize them, you know, there is no left side and right side. We got one team up there. And that's what we need. We need one team. It can't be a right side and a left side. It can't. I don't believe there's puppets up there. I've seen Sandra many a times disagree with Teddy and with Juan and with Fred a lot of times. You know, we're all human and we all have our own thoughts and our own opinions. And I really believe it sincerely in my heart that each and every person up there is doing their very best for our city, whether you agree or not. I don't want to forget Teddy, Sandra, and Fred. I mean, you guys have served. Fred has served many, many years, you know, but we thank you. I mean, this is something that when I see people come up here and criticize my council people, when I hear somebody attack our police chief, that's probably the best police chief we've had in many, many years, they could go any town just like this and probably get more money. And we get people come up here and criticize our chief. Shame on our city, because you know what? We've got a very, very good chief, and he cares. And I guarantee you when he hears this comment that he will find out who this person is and dig to the bottom of it. You know, I have passion for this city. I used to be the complainer. And you know what?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thank you.
We have one ADA request from Tim Duran. My comment is for you, Fred Charette. The rule that Mayor Tran sets upon the council of San Bernardino every meeting is for you all to treat each other, the residents and staff, with respect, to set an example of what kind of city we are. How you conduct yourself in the last meeting gives us a bad name. In the last meeting, you insulted Treasurer Ortiz and our community with your vulgar words. It was caught on microphone, heard on TV. You owe her and our community an apology. Mayor and council, where is the accountability? Will you sit silent or speak up? Will Treasurer have to be like Amy Malone, another woman of color disrespected while speaking the truth? I want everyone in Ward 7 to vote for Treasurer Ortiz. Vote for change, and in 2 years, show up for the 4th Ward and get rid of Fred Charette.
Thank you. Is that all the comments?
That concludes the comments.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent calendar, item 1 and 2. Any council members pools? Is there a motion? Second?
Move approval.
There's a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Charette. Is there a second? Councilmember Figueroa. Can we call for the votes?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Yes. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Consent calendar passes unanimously.
Thank you. Moving on to Mayor and City Council updates. Councilmember Sanchez.
Yes, I have 2 updates. Give me a second. While I pull them up, I do want to mention we approved a lot of street vacations, and we approved a lot of community facilities districts. This is what progress looks like. Most people aren't watching out there, but this is how we improve the city, city block by city block. These are businesses that are coming in, increasing the city's revenues, making offsite improvements, and this is what will attract more investment. It snowballs into something better, and so I want to applaud everyone who was involved in that, from our, well, all the city, all staff, as well as all our contracted staff. So thank you. This is what progress really looks like. So due to the rains recently, the ribbon cutting for the San Manuel mobile pet clinic was postponed. It's been postponed to March 19th at 2 p.m., which is a Tuesday. There will be free pet vaccinations and microchipping at this event. And the annual egg extravaganza, the Easter Parks and Rec event, is going to be at Fiscalini Field on Saturday, March 23rd from 11 to 2. Over 30,000 eggs stuffed by park staff and volunteers will be part of the 4 separate egg hunts for kids between the ages of 1 and 12. So come out to that event. It should be a lot of fun. Lydia always puts on a world-class event for everyone. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Ibarra.
Thank you, Mayor. This week I did attend the regional meeting for the Council of the Interagency Council of Homelessness for our region, and there's a lot of progress. A lot of the cities are starting to also do their part in addressing homelessness in their cities. Fontana, Redlands, we're just 2 besides us, and we're opening up the nominations. We just got notification today that if there's any agencies in the region or cities that need help or want to be part of the discussions of what goes on regarding homelessness, that we're going to be holding nominations next month. So please come out to the next meeting, which is going to be, I believe, I'll get it real quick right here. Sorry. And it's going to be in Colton. That's going to be April the 3rd, 1 p.m. So if you're an agency in the city of San Bernardino addressing homelessness or another local city, please come out to our next regional meeting. You can contact me at Ibarra, IBARRA_SA @sbcity.org, and I can provide more details. So that's what's happening right now regarding the homelessness in our city and our region. Also on Sunday, I'll be going off to Washington, D.C. to represent our city and advocating on our behalf and our region to our legislators out in Washington. So that's where I'll be next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I recently had the opportunity to attend the Scenic Riverwalk Neighborhood Association, and so I do want to take a moment to express my gratitude to Anthony Aguirre for his leadership in that neighborhood and for the work that he does to advocate for a lot of the needs that are, a lot of things that are needed in that neighborhood. There's certainly a lot of issues, and there is, as there are with the rest of the city with homelessness and potholes and all kinds of different things that's going on in the rest of the city. And so I just wanted to recognize his leadership in that neighborhood association, along with various other leaders in other neighborhoods as well. I know in the Colony Park area, there's been issues with safety concerns with speeding and traffic and things like that going on in that neighborhood. I just wanted to let the neighbors in that area know that, there is currently a study being done, and we'll get some information to you as soon as that is available as well. And so thank you to the leadership of Ms. Anderson, Ms. Parra, Ms. Rueda in that area as well, along with Ms. Brenda Bell. For your advocacy of your neighborhoods as well, and keeping me up to date with what's going on in that area. But believe me, I do get your messages, and I appreciate that. And some work is getting done. So just wanted to let you know. And as soon as that more information is available, it will be shared with you as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Charette?
I don't have any announcements along those lines. I do want to recognize a lifelong resident of the city of San Bernardino that passed away this past week. His name is Bill Carey. Owns Carey's Fine Auto right over here at 645 D Street. He's been in town all of his life. His father ran the business. It's called Carey's Fine Autos, right across, almost directly across the street from the police department. Very active in our community, active with Route 66, active in the hot rod and car culture. And so he will be sorely missed. I'm not sure, but he claimed that Carey's Fine Autos is one of the, if not the oldest, one of the oldest businesses in this town. And I know that it's been around a long, long time because his father ran it before he did. And so, and that goes back to the 40s at least. So I just wanted to recognize him and ask that we close the meeting in his memory. Again, Bill Carey, a longtime resident and family in San Bernardino. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Reynoso?
Yeah, short and sweet. First, I want to thank the city staff for promoting the grand opening of Chubsy Smash Burgers tomorrow. Those are great friends of mine. They were operating out of the parking lot behind Alex's Jumpers on East Street for a long time. This is a homegrown story, and so it's like totally it's culminated now. With their brick and mortar, and that's what we want to encourage here with small businesses. So that's tomorrow, 2344 Sterling Ave, Chubsy Smash Burgers grand opening, and I hope to see you there. That's all.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Calvin?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, San Bernardino. Wanted to just say thank you to Dignity Health. I attended an event there with Councilmember Alexander and Mayor Tran celebrating community champion awards, and they gave out like over $365,000 to community organizations that help out our community members. So really hats off to them. Attended the State of the Women in honor of Women's History Month, put on by Rialto's Mayor Deborah Robertson. That was a well-attended event. Mayor Tran also attended that as well. attended the Black Cultural Foundation Award honoring community leaders. I want to say thank you to all of the Delman Heights Parks staff. They put together with community members and Cajon High School students over 14,000 eggs, stuffed them for our event that's going to be coming up for Easter. That is commendable to all of those scholars that came out to help out at Delman Heights. That staff is wonderful there. And then the Million Morning Women, that is a new group that I mentioned to you all a couple weeks back, that is also helping out community members. Very, very grateful for all of them. And then thank you to KKC Little League for coming out and sharing with the community, sharing with the city all of the issues that they have there at the park. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Alexander?
Thank you, Mayor. Happy Women's History Month?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Happy Women's History Month, because women run my world. I'd like to also acknowledge that Bill Carey's death. Bill Carey and I, we served on the police commission. It was called the police commission back then. We served on the police commission together, so he will certainly be missed. I attended the Inland Empire Community Foundation State of the Veterans Report for the Inland Empire. It was a report done and showing how and what needs to be done with our veterans in San Bernardino and Riverside County. It was done at March Air Force Base at the museum there. It was very informative. Also, I will be attending the National League of Cities along with my colleagues here. I'll be leaving on the 10th. Going to be coming back on the 13th, and we'll report back to you what we have done and what we have achieved. And just one quick question to our Animal Control Director, Chris Watson. If they're not meeting, if you guys are not meeting, why aren't you meeting? It's just a statement. You ain't got to answer it. It's just a statement. Chris, you ain't got to answer it. It's just a statement. That's all I'm saying. It's a statement. Why aren't you meeting? And please let us know why is your commission not meeting. David Freeman, you're gone. Thank you for getting my charging stations. I appreciate you every time I ask you to do something. As far as EV is concerned, or anything like that, you make it happen. I'm glad you did that. Thank you so much. And I attended the State of the 50th with Eloise Reyes Gomez, and she provided information on what happened during the Assembly District that she did during the preceding year. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. I have no updates to provide. Before we adjourn, let's take a moment of silence for Bill Carey. And in closing his honor. Okay. Thank you, Mayor. You're welcome. The Mayor and City Council and the Mayor and City Council acting as the successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency will adjourn at 8:59 p.m. to the regular meeting to be held on March 20th, 2024 at the Feldheim Central Library located at 555 West 6th Street, San Bernardino, California, 92401. Please note that the closed session will begin at 4 p.m. Again, closed session at 4 p.m. Open session will begin at 5:30. Is that correct, staff? Just want to make sure. 4 p.m. closed session, 5:30 open session. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.